Wednesday, the middle of the week. Good morning, pop culture, the People's Morning Show. After another fantastic High Council, I'm back to discuss the world of entertainment while you're at work, on your way to school, or whatever reason you have to be up so damn early in the morning. You know, all this news of the Obi-Wan Kenobi film that may never be has me thinking about a lot of the points Ethan Van Sciver made last night. We're going to connect the dots, play detective, if you will, and see what's going on over at Lucasfilm. Much like Transformers, and we're not talking about Bruce Jenner, there's more than meets the eye. So let's get to 200 viewers so we can start this morning's show. While we're waiting, real quick, let's talk about the 007 Hangout that's coming tonight. So as you guys know, we have a lot of Patreon stuff that we do on Wednesdays, and this week is no different. So tonight, I'll be joined by my friend and patron, American Trent 007, and before recently, Trent was a virgin, a 007 virgin. And with the suggestion of world-class bullshitters, he went out, he picked up the entire box set, and he watched each film. And now tonight, I'm going to have Trent on the show, and we're going to discuss his first time with James Bond. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping all of you join us because I would like to hear your first times with 007, and that's dirtier than it means to sound. But we're going to talk about the movies, his favorite characters, insert, other questions here and there, and anything you guys want to talk about. And we might even play a little game with all of you where you try to come up with the best derp and muff titles for Bond flicks. But save those for tonight because I want everyone to hear them on that episode. So let's see where we are in terms of the magic number. Oh my God, we're at 165. We are almost there. We already have a super chat from the Farting Hippo. Good womb to you, Mr. Shitter. Well, thank you, the Farting Hippo, and a good womb to you too, my friend. Mr. Shitter, Darth Muff, all names that I answer to. My family would never call me those things because they're not cool enough to be part of the world-class bullshitters community. Anthony Gates, hello, Greedo is a shill. Spelled S-H-I-L-L. Well, thank you, Anthony Gates. I don't know much about Hello Greedo. People tell me that he makes videos talking about us. I just don't have the time to listen or respond because I'm busy with you guys, making content that people want to watch, content that reaches millions of people each month. So he can shill out as hard as he wants, shill hard, a Greedo story, but World-Class Bullshitters is busy being the epitome of pop culture. Now, he may appear on the High Council one day with Mike Zero, Star Wars content, or whatever Ethan said last night. But that's up to them. They determine their guests. I determine my guests. Speaking of guests, Saturday night, we're going to have Doomcock here on World-Class Bullshitters. It's going to be a nice evening with Doomcock where we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. It's a one-on-one discussion. It's a little more intimate, if you will. So if you're into hostile takeovers of the planet Earth, or you just want to hear people talk about entertainment that you love, Saturday night's your place for it, right here on World Class Bullshitters. The Bond stream is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are 007 fans and you want to check that out, well, this is the perfect time for it, tonight at 9 o'clock. And it seems like our James Bond content gets a lot of views. So this is now a more James Bond-friendly channel, which makes me very happy because it's my favorite thing to discuss in terms of entertainment. Yes, Wednesday does mean hump day, so do with that information what you will, but make sure you spend your hump day, at least the morning part of it, with Good Morning Pop Culture. We're at 198 viewers, one more till we start. Oh, now we're down to 196. It's like people can't wait for 4 more people to show up so we can start. Now we're at 199. As soon as I hit that 200 number, it's time for Obi, Obi-Wan. Now back down to 196. It's like a game. It's like, maybe they'll get there, then I'm going back. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's like Ross and Rachel. Who knows? Anything is possible. There we go. We crossed the 200 marker. So let's get on with this show. Good morning to everyone who's here in the chat. And I'm glad you all enjoyed the High Council, and I'm glad you're all here this morning, as early as you are. So this news comes from Newsarama, which I guess is trustworthy. No plans for Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, at least with Ewan McGregor involved, according to actor. Ewan McGregor says he would return to the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi in a Star Wars spinoff without hesitation, but so far, no one has asked. I would totally do it, of course, McGregor said on The View before quickly clarifying, there are no plans to do such, as far as I know. You can check out the video segment here, which we will not be playing on air due to copyright reasons. McGregor last portrayed Obi-Wan Kenobi in 2005's Revenge of the Sith. He also confirmed recording lines for Rey's vision in 2015's The Force Awakens. So they're not giving us the one thing that can unite prequel fans and modern era fans and original trilogy fans. Because through the lens of time, I think we've all taken a softer stance on Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I knew personally he was always my favorite character in those movies, mainly because he was in the original films and he was the anchor that brought me into this new world of Star Wars, if you will. I mean, I was 10 years old when Episode 1 came out. So Qui-Gon, Trade Federation, Shmi Skywalker, all these things, Padme's, I didn't know what they were, but I knew what Obi-Wan Kenobi was. And I knew that he had a lightsaber and then he would fight. Anakin was a little boy. He wouldn't be involved in that dumb stuff. So that's what I was hanging my hat on. And Ewan McGregor didn't disappoint me. He got better as time went on. He was okay in Episode 1, okay in Episode 2. And then when 3 came around, he was funny and better. So this was the one thing that they had left in their reserves to excite me, to entice me, if you will. They're going to get the actor back. With Boba Fett, well, it doesn't really matter if Jeremy Bulloch plays Boba Fett or not. Well, I don't really want Tamara Morrison to voice him because there's already the basic Boba Fett voice from Jason Wingering. So there are all these things out there that they can't get right. But Obi-Wan Kenobi is the one thing they can get right. Luke Skywalker movie, he already died in the movies and he's too old to go back and play a past version of Luke. This was it. And it makes you wonder, are there signs behind the scenes at Lucasfilm of something else? Now, last night on the High Council, Ethan Van Sciver made a point about connecting the dots. There's no Obi-Wan film coming out, Filoni stepping away from Star Wars Resistance. Does this mean that Kathleen Kennedy is really out in September? So I thought we could play a little game of Connect the Dots, and please in the chat, chime in with your opinions if you feel this is correct, accurate, inaccurate, however you want to say it, just let me know. So we've heard rumors, we heard all kinds of stuff from, it wasn't Bantha Tracks, it might have been Bantha Tracks. Well, that was the original Star Wars newsletter. Bantha something. And they were talking about how the Obi-Wan film was gearing up for production directly after Episode 9, and that the same crew would be migrated over to that, or migrated over from that to Episode 9. Now, with that news / rumor that you heard previously, you would assume, or at least I would, that they had the cast locked down, or at least contacted. Now, all of this could be still the case with Ewan McGregor playing coy. But at the same time, a lot of these actors usually say, well, I can't talk about it. There's other signs to let them know. Because you would think with the Disney Star Wars situation that Disney would want all the hype and PR they could get. Like I said, next year there's a big Star Wars film with Episode 9, the Disney theme park, a possible video game release, new animated features, the streaming service. You would think they want the hype and the attention firing on all cylinders. But that's not the case. It seems like there's no plan behind the scenes. It's chaotic. Kathleen Kennedy's whole regime has been a one big chaotic mess. Nothing's been planned out. I mean, look at the Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. Everything planned here, torn apart there. Even if I didn't like what was in The Force Awakens, I could at least respect that they were setting up something for the long haul. But no, not the case. They ruined it. Rian Johnson ruined it. Kathleen Kennedy allowed it. That is completely her fault. So no Obi-Wan Kenobi film, at least in the pipeline at this point, just seems like poor management. You want people to have something to look forward to. For me, personally, I didn't love Black Panther. Thor Ragnarok was okay, but I was looking forward to Infinity War. That was the thing that got me coming back to the theater. Like, hey, these lesser films are lesser films, but I'm coming back for the big main event, and I can't wait. So with Star Wars, you'd think you'd want that too. The Marvel brand and the Marvel business plan has worked so well for so long, and they're owned by Disney. You'd think that Bob Iger or anyone in charge, was it Alan Horn, those people would be like, hey, do what Marvel's doing with the anticipation and the hype train, and make some more Star Wars bucks. Not the case anymore. Reed Palancha, thank you very much for your super chat. Appreciate your hard work for this channel. Personally, I think it's best to get their act together before they do more damage to the franchise. Well, first off, Reed, thank you for your nice compliment. I appreciate that. It would be nice for them to get their act together. What do you mean by that? Do you think that means taking a break from all Star Wars projects? Do you think that means taking a break from the theatrical films? There was that rumor going around that the Obi-Wan film was going to debut on the streaming service, which from a fan standpoint, I like the idea of seeing these movies in theaters in a big group for the community aspect. But at the same time, without the original trilogy, and you can't market nostalgia to the streaming service or with the streaming service, you need something to get people to bite. For example, if the streaming service debuted with the original uncut trilogy with a 4K remaster, you'd make tons of bank because everyone would sign up for that shit. They're like, oh my God, the original cut. Because you still got those people online that are going nuts about the original cut. But you don't. Well, we're going to have Star Wars Resistance, and we're going to have this and that. But no original Star Wars. Well, I can pass. But we're going to have this Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that's not going to hit theaters. There you go. So, what do you mean by getting their act together before they do any more damage to the franchise? For me, it would be to course correct as fast as possible and not wait. Help us forget about what came before. Divert our attention to something positive, something exciting, and not the dreary, depressing end to the worst chapter of the Star Wars saga. So thank you very much, Reed Palancio. Jaron Ricewig, thank you very much. Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan are so similar. Obi-Wan tells Anakin, I'm not brave enough for politics. I think Ewan is thinking the same thing, hence this. Yeah, Ewan McGregor seems to want to stay out of the Star Wars muckraking. If Brie Larson was in Star Wars, she'd be the first one on the front line saying, oh, it's the toxic community. It's a small group of men, blah, 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 blah. And I would just sigh on air and I'd say, oh, Brie, you were so charming in 21 Jump Street. What happened? And then I'd move on because I don't give a shit about her as an actress. But Ewan McGregor seems slick enough to know, like, hey, I dealt with the prequel fans. I've been doing this shit for almost 20 years. I know what these people want. I know how to give it to them easily, and I'm going to continue to do that. But that's not the case. So, no Obi-Wan movie for the foreseeable future. Rocket Insano, thank you very much. There is a plan. They just learned to shut up. Oh, okay. That's your guess. And then finally, but Samuel Aragon, Bantha Tracks was original. It's now Bantha Poodoo. That's very true. Have you guys ever seen the old Bantha Tracks scans? There was a fan Star Wars site that I used to frequent, and they would have PDF scans of these original Bantha Tracks fan newsletters. And they were cool because it was like, official news that Lucasfilm would leak out. And they had stuff about Boba Fett, and they had stuff about behind the scenes stuff. It was really cool. It was world building before the internet. And it was a nice way, to connect with the Star Wars fans and trickle out little bits of information to get you ready for the next movie. They were smart. They were smart. Let's see. Very generous super chat from King Uendo. It's possible they contemplated creating the Obi-Wan movie without Ewan McGregor. This would be, of course, PR suicide, but Lucasfilm have clearly demonstrated a disdain for their fan base. So, King Uendo, I wouldn't be surprised if they had another actor, a young actor, in mind for this, which is a huge mistake because if you look right here at Ewan McGregor on The View, I'm not trying to sound weird, but the dude looks great. He looks healthy enough and young enough to continue to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this would take place post episode 3, we're all assuming, when Obi-Wan's going to be older. So there's a 19-year gap between episode 3 and episode 4. And this film will take place in that 19-year gap. So it could take place 9 or 10 years before A New Hope, and he would be the same age difference from the episode 3 to episode whatever this movie would be called. So I don't know what excuse or example anyone could ever give about him being too old to play the role. You know, this isn't Yoda saying you're too old to begin the training. No, Ewan McGregor's in great shape. He still has all of his hair. The beard is easy to grow. This guy is perfect for the role. It's the one thing they have guaranteed in terms of Star Wars performance, because the guy's a great actor on top of that. You don't know what their thinking is, because you talk about the disdain for their fan base. You know, they drink out of these mugs called fanboy tier mugs. They let their directors and their producers and these writers of poor fiction come out and talk shit about the fan base and critique them and harass them, belittle them. People that are involved at the top, or at least associated with people at the top, are calling for, hate groups to show up and shit. They have the biggest disdain for their fan base, and it's becoming violently obvious that something needs to be done. I wish there was some sort of power in Hollywood that could just pluck Star Wars away and let it go off on its own with a new group of people. Now, maybe Dave Filoni's that guy. Maybe there's more than meets the eye with him. Ethan was talking about it last night. With Filoni in name only being involved with Resistance, maybe his attention is being put elsewhere. Me personally, I'm guessing his attention is focused on the revival of the Clone Wars, which, according to D. Bradley Baker, was only announced internally about 3 to 4 months ago. So Dave Filoni might be busy with that. Or he could be being groomed to take over the Lucasfilm story group, or just be the president of Lucasfilm. I think a lot of goodwill from the fans can make that happen. And if you're a fan that wants Filoni to take over, and he does, and you go out and support the brand financially, then they're going to see that it was the right choice. So the power's in our hands to say, hey, this is what we wanted, and this is how we're going to react in kind. But we'll talk about that the closer we get. But PR suicide. King Uendo, they've done dumb shit this year, but I don't think anything would top that, because then you would have more fans come out in anger about bad decisions. And then you couldn't pull the sexist racist card. You could only be like, well, they're mad because Ewan McGregor's not playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you can't recast Obi-Wan as a black woman or a Latino man or anything. You can't have Oscar Isaac play Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, he started out white, he dies white. You kind of have to stick with that role. You can't James Bond this shit and make a mistake. So thank you very much, King Uendo. I appreciate that. Let's see. We had a few others pop in. First up from David Cook. Thank you very much, David Cook. Sinister voice. Good morning, my Lord Muff. How many muffians will be of service? All the muffians this morning will be of service. I need you all. We're going to form a muff army. I'm a farmy. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you, David Cook. Sean Gilbert, thank you very much. If you notice, they have de-emphasized the Force users. No spin-off is Force user-centric, and barely the movies, in fact. Rey is kind of anti-Force, or any Force. Yeah, when you say it like that, it makes sense. And, well, let me think a little deeper about that. Now, if they're going through the timeline that they want, like the time period, there wouldn't be a ton of Force users. I will say that if they stuck to the post-Return of the Jedi, pre-Force Awakens era, and they want to talk about Force users, well, they'd have to have Luke Skywalker on adventures trying to find the Force in other parts of the galaxy. And you couldn't have some offshoot store brand Luke doing it. You'd have to have Luke. Therefore, you'd have to put in the time and effort to cast like Sebastian Stan or de-age Mark Hamill or do something for that. So if they want to stick with that timeline, there's that. I think the reason they choose the spin-offs and the things they do aren't necessarily because of Force users. I think it's for nostalgia's sake. Like Rogue One has an ample usage of X-Wings, TIE Fighters, Tarkin, Leia with the buns, the Death Star. Y-Wings, all kinds of stuff. They're really trying to play up on the nostalgia in that aspect. They want to get you hooked. And if they have to play true to the lore to some degree, they can't just have random Jedi show up. That's why Chirrut Imwe, or whatever his name is, was not really a Force user, but he felt the Force as a religious thing and used it to guide him to victory in battle, even though he ultimately died. And then with the Clone Wars era is really the only place where you can have ample Force users, Jedi, lightsabers, and stuff. You're kind of stuck the way Star Wars is structured, as there was the time before the Empire where all the Jedi were, vibrant and thriving. Then the Empire era where they were wiped out through Order 66 and Darth Vader's Purge. And then Luke has to go out and find more. So I do notice that, but I think it's just because of the time period. And maybe there's the religious connotation. I don't know. Maybe they could be looking at it from a business aspect and thinking to themselves they don't want to offend any foreign markets. But the foreign markets aren't receptive to Star Wars currently. I mean, the movie can't get a foothold in China. So let's just stop trying with China. I don't understand why they do the things they do. Thank you, Sean. S. Gamble 121682. No interest in Star Wars due to Episode 8. Must be fixed. Sad. Yeah, it must be fixed. Like I said to you guys, honesty is important for me on the channel, and I will be seeing Episode 9 for the channel. But once that hits, I think I can step away. If there's a Rian Johnson trilogy, I'm not going to watch it. There's just no need to. If I want to watch a car crash, I'll just go to YouTube. Dennis Smith says, The Last Jedi ruins Star Wars. Start over. I say redo 7 through 9. Yeah, here's the thing, though. If you redo 7 through 9, let's just play alternate reality bingo, where we get called into this other dimension with certain rules from this one. It's not even an alternate dimension. Let's just say we do it now. Something happens at Lucasfilm. The mandate comes down from Bob Iger. This happens. Well, you would have to set it in a different time because Princess Leia is really dead. Carrie Fisher passed away, sadly, years ago. Harrison Ford, all the money in the you could entice him with a lot more money, but he doesn't want to do it. And then Mark Hamill, I think he's heartbroken a little bit, but he'll come back because he needs something. He needs a win. Yeah, he's happy in his marriage and as a father and all that stuff. Yeah, he succeeded there, and he succeeded in an acting career. But I think Star Wars, which was such a big part of his life, has been tarnished, and I think he'd like to go out on a high note, but it ain't happening currently. But if they were to go back and redo that, where would Princess Leia be? Would you write her out as dead? Would you go to a different timeline? I mean, we're stuck with the 7 through 9 we got. And it's our fault that we let them get away with the blind nostalgia hype. If people would have woken up to this in 2015, we'd be in a much different place. But it's also to our benefit that we've woken up now. It's better late than never. So now we know their tricks and their foolery that they're trying to pull on us. And here we are. We're a very aware fan base. Star Wars fans, on average, I'd say Star Wars is probably one of the smarter fan bases out there. I like wrestling, but your average wrestling fan isn't that great. Believe me, I go to these shows and sometimes I'm embarrassed by the people I meet. But the Star Wars fans are better than that, smarter off than that, and they know what's up. Reed Palancha, thank you very much for your very generous super chat. I know Rian Johnson wanted to make movies in Star Wars that had no Force users, something that might end in failure. The more their lack of understanding to the lore to pull it off. Yeah, and Rian Johnson even had Broom Boy pop up, remember? I mean, we have our own Broom Boy here, but Broom Boy was probably Rian Johnson's backdoor to the next trilogy. Ugh, I don't like the idea of Rian Johnson having more. You talk about Mark Hamill saying, I fundamentally disagree with everything you've written about my character. Well, I think Rian Johnson has absolutely no understanding of the Star Wars universe and how things work. You can go to your average comic store and pull out somebody that claims to like Star Wars, and they probably have a better understanding of how Star Wars works over Rian Johnson, a man who's been paid millions of dollars to make an actual Star Wars film. And I hope Ryan Johnson understands the power of a fan base, because you pissed off the Star Wars fan base by saying terrible things, making a terrible movie, and people won't forget. People won't forgive. Like, his name probably is not going to be attached to another big franchise for quite a while. Like a Marvel movie directed by Ryan Johnson ain't happening. It would be Iron Man and Black Widow drinking tea for 2 hours discussing the intricacies of the Sokovia Accords after it had already been, dismantled. So Ryan Johnson has really put himself out of commission in terms of bigger properties. He'll go off and he'll do his TV shows, or he'll go do his small little artsy pieces, or hang out and do theater in Chicago or something. But his ass is done with Disney proper doing big movies. Tentpole things aren't in Ryan Johnson's future. Jon Favreau, maybe his show is great and he moves on and gets his own trilogy or something like that. Jon Favreau is like our only hope in terms of somebody that gets big stuff as well as smaller end stuff. And also, to follow up on this Dave Filoni thing, I just wanted to say that somebody brought it to my attention that Force for Diversity, that cartoon that everyone hates, is also Filoni in name only. So maybe we're going to get more of that with Star Wars Resistance. I mean, it's too early to tell. I can't make those judgments yet. But it was brought to my attention, and it's something that needed to be said on air. But now let's play devil's advocate here, and let's say that Ethan was 100% right with his words from last night, that this all means that Kathleen Kennedy is gone. In the chat, let me know how you think they would announce Kathleen Kennedy's departure. Oh, thank you very much, the Cobra Viper. I always thought they should just recast the trio and told an earlier story to give the original cast a standalone farewell adventure. That's not a bad idea, Cobra Viper. I know it goes against what some people say, but I'm not completely opposed to new people playing Han, Luke, and Leia if they're done right. Alden Ehrenreich was not a good choice. The dude can't act. I feel really bad for him as a person because, like, dude, you're done. He's not going to come back with Pacific Rim 3 next summer. People are going to remember him as the guy that couldn't pull off Han Solo. Why? Because he's too little. He's not masculine enough. I know that Hollywood hates toxic masculinity and all this shit, but Han Solo is an alpha, okay? Harrison Ford was the only dude in the world that could outcool Billy D. Williams. I mean, look at those production shots of them on set, or, the promotional shots, if you will. Billy D. Williams is the smoothest dude in the galaxy, but somehow Han or Harrison Ford just has that cool factor about him that supersedes Billy's smoothness. You need something like that. I'm not saying I want Chris Pratt to play Han Solo, but Chris Pratt has an air about him. People want him to play Indiana Jones. I don't really want another Indiana Jones movie because we've been so burned by the fourth one. But if, gun to my head, who am I going to pick? I'd pick him unless there's another unknown out there that I haven't seen yet. Because from what we know, Chris Pratt looks close enough. He's got the right attitude, the right demeanor, and he can do the big action role. And, let's just see him be serious and do the Professor Jones shit and then put him out there in the field. Put him in World War II, whatever we're going to do. I think if you want to milk these characters and give them life outside of, you want constant sequels and prequels, you got to put them in a time period where they're interesting. Look, I love Harrison Ford. He's my favorite actor. The Indiegogo comic is about Harrison Ford. I wouldn't put all my time into this shit if I didn't care about the guy and he's not my favorite actor. But it's time for him to do his own thing. And if you want more Indiana Jones, which you really shouldn't because he literally rode off into the sunset, I think you got to take my approach where you go to World War II, you show Indy fighting in the war, you have Chris Pratt play. You want more Han Solo, you do it post-Episode 6 with Luke and Leia, and you get somebody that's actually masculine and tall enough and has that commanding presence. And then you get two other people that look close enough to Carrie and Mark Hamill, and you get their personalities down, good actors, and you do that. And that way you could have Episode 7 through 9 be the Yuzong Vong War, whatever the hell people want, the Thrawn trilogy. Give them that shit. And it'll be cool. It'll be war. It'll be battle. It will be the remnants of the Empire. We won't have these holes. Why is this? Where is that? There's another Death Star? How did these people come into power? So many questions. Why is Jakku another sand planet? Why isn't it Tatooine? Why is this salt not... you get what I'm saying, guys? Just, it would help resolve so many questions and help people focus on what Lucasfilm / Disney actually wants them to focus on, giving them money. So thank you to Cobra Viper. Blippity Blop, I am not available this week or next week to join you on the Deplorable Batcave, but just shoot me an email towards the beginning of the month, and I will let you know my schedule. Brandon Moist, welcome back, my friend. She will resign for personal reasons, then come out a few months later saying she was bullied into resigning by the toxic fandom. Do you think that if she resigns soon, that she'll pull that card during Celebration when a lot of the fandom menace has come together and try to paint us in a bad light? It would be really unfortunate for some violence to take place against the fandom menace. When that's said, it would feel like a very Palpatine-esque plan. But we'll find out next year. But that probably what will happen, Brandon Moist. That will be her game plan. Oh, I was bullied. Look, you can use every one of my videos. Not once did I threaten her or make her feel unsafe or anything like that. I gave my opinion on her qualifications for a job. Millions of people write reviews for Yelp or other business, or on Google, or all these things. They write business reviews. Well, I wrote a professional review for Kathleen Kennedy, but I did it in a video form, and thankfully almost 2 million people have watched the two big ones combined. That's not my fault. That's not bullying. That's not harassment. I always take a nice, calm, cool approach to that, and I just back it up with opinions and facts, and there we go. So, Brandon, that's probably a pretty good thing. Dennis Smith says, what's the chance Episode 9 retcons parts of The Last Jedi? I'd say a pretty good chance of that happening. Never tell me the odds, but it probably will ignore some of the dumber parts. They'll ignore some of the stuff said by Rose about Canto Bight. I'll put $5 down right now. Only one person can claim the $5. So remember this date. August 15th, 2018, 8:17 a.m. I'm hold myself to this. They will retcon all of how Poe Dameron is treated in The Last Jedi, and he will be a powerful, capable character once again in the Last Jedi sequel. So whatever Episode 9 is, Poe Dameron will be a fully realized hero that little boys and men can get behind as the strong male character. We got all these strong female characters we have to talk about, but all the dudes now are just a fucking joke. So Poe Dameron will be that. And they will put all the dumb shit with Admiral Holdo behind him, and he'll never act like anything happened. And he'll go out and he'll fight, and he'll be cool, he'll be rash. He's an action hero. He's not meant to be boring and plotting and logical. Star Wars is not a tale of modern masculinity. It's a story of good versus evil and getting whatever needs to be done in the heat of battle. Do you think Chewbacca and Han talked about the moral complexity of saving Luke at the Death Star? No, they just fucking went and did it. And it's one of the best moments of the entire movie. You think Luke's dead, he's barreling down the trench. Vader's like, I have you now. Boom, the TIE fighter to the left of him explodes. No, excuse me, the TIE fighter to the right of him explodes. Then Han comes in. The pilot says, look out. He hits Vader's wing, crashes into the wall. Vader swings out, spins out in confusion, and Han gives Luke the opening for the shot. You don't need a scene where, oh, you're always thinking in your cockpit or whatever that fucking stupid line was. No, you just got into it. This is war. Fight. Star Wars. Go into battle. Look cool. It's fake. Make it awesome. Thank you, Dennis. Oliver Pocock. Sorry, I almost said Pocock. Oliver Pocock, thank you very much. I saw the title. Has Obi-Wan film actually been canceled? And if so, why? Well, Oliver, I'll tell you exactly what it said on Newsarama. It says, Ewan McGregor said he would return to the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi in a Star Wars spinoff without hesitation, but so far no one has asked. He said, I would totally do it, of course. There are no plans to do such as far as I know. Now, remember, on the Bantha Poodoo site, whatever it was called, they talked about it happening and that it was going to begin production. So soon, like right after episode 9, if that's the case, you would already have alerted the cast, and he would have probably said, well, I can't talk about that or something like that to get interest high, get people excited once again. You have to treat Star Wars as a special case. Instead of trying to keep all this mystery box garbage locked up, you got to let people know, like, hey, we're taking your advice and we're going to give you what you want and get people pumped. Oh my God, Obi-Wan's coming in 2020. Okay, well, then I can forgive whatever and I'll get excited again. But no, they did not. So Oliver Pocock, that is exactly what we covered. S. Gamble 121682 says, baffled how Disney/Iger isn't disgusted by Rian Johnson's Star Wars. At the end of it, it's all about the money. Like Vince McMahon would say, it's all about the money. Well, it made some money, significantly less. They're hiding behind the guys that Empire was hated and all this other false shit that they try to promote on the internet. Look, The Last Jedi hurt Star Wars beyond just taking in less at the box office. Guys, Star Wars brands just can't sell. They can't sell merchandise. They try to give it away. They lie. It's in limited quality. It's this, it's that. Look, Rose Tico, Rey, Old Man Luke Skywalker, those things have no value on the market. You know who I really feel sorry for are the guys that own the independent toy stores and places that are just stuck with mountains of Star Wars merchandise that they can't get rid of. It's like, oh, you wanted to get it in your store when it was going to be popular? Well, you got to buy so many cases. Like when I made that Star Wars toy graveyard video, which, by the way, has been a huge success. Thank you to everyone who's watched it. I will be working on another independent video very soon. Like I said, though, Indiegogo and stuff coming together, I got to focus on that and keep these live shows going so there's no gap in the channel. But back to that, I feel sorry for the people that get stuck with paying for the sins of Disney Star Wars. And it's, these retailers, these smaller end places. I never can claim that Toys R Us went out of business because of Star Wars toys. That's just a lie. I think it was Mitt Romney's company who the people like levied bank loans or something against Toys R Us, and they put so much debt onto it, and then it went out of business. So that's the story. Go listen to the company man's videos. He covers it accurately. But I bet you a strong Star Wars could have helped. Not saying it would have got him going out of business forever, but it could have helped a strong Star Wars because it's the biggest brand ever, and we're going to have midnight releases. Well, your little shitty, under-detailed figures that don't move, not only do they lack articulation, but they just don't move off the shelves. So thank you, S. Gamble. Let's see. Rocket Insano. Chris Pratt should be the Rocketeer. Rocket Insano, aren't you glad that the Rocketeer is going to be played by a black girl in the 1950s in the new movie? Yeah, let that sink in. That's the pitch for the new Rocketeer movie, which I won't be watching. No SJW Rocketeer for Jeff. No, sir. The original one, for what it was, is great. You have, Jennifer Connelly at her best. The guy that played, was it Cliff Secord? He was fine. Timothy Dalton's a great villain. It's a fun, pulpy twist. It's really... if you were to watch like the Indiana Jones flicks and that and something else in the same night, it would just feel like a disconnected yet connected universe. I love that retro throwback with some swashbuckling fun and excitement. We need, at least me personally, I would like more stuff like that. Just a fun, well-made excitement, with people that give a shit about it. Like Joe Johnston, the guy that directed that movie, directed Captain America, the First Avenger, and he worked on a little movie called Star Wars, where he was the art director, I believe, was his official title. But he helped finalize designs for the Millennium Falcon and all these other things. So Joe Johnson is one of the, I'd put the 5 most important people that made Star Wars what it was. He's on that list, along with Ben Burtt, John Williams, George Lucas, and Gary Kurtz. Those 5 people. Yeah, Marsha Lucas is very important too. I can't take her off. So those are the people I think deserve the credit for Star Wars the most. Oh, Ralph McQuarrie. Sorry. Let's take off Gary Kurtz, put Ralph McQuarrie, and then Marsha Lucas. Let's see. These are rolling in this morning. Thank you guys so much. David Cook. Let's see. Were you the next one? Wait, nope. Rocket Insano, the Cobra Viper. Sad fact: sequel trilogy came along 20 years too late. 100% agree. I kept saying this for the longest time. 97 prequel or 97 special editions to get Star Wars back. 99, no episode 1, episode 7. Harrison Ford still looks great in the late 90s. Mark Hamill, as well as Carrie Fisher. They looked younger, obviously, because it was 20 years ago, but they looked better. They looked healthier. They could still act. I was watching Third Rock from the Sun the other morning, and Mark Hamill was on that. Carrie Fisher's in Austin Powers, and Harrison Ford was in a ton of movies through the late 90s. So you could have gotten, you saw what they would have looked like back then. And episode 1 had really good ship effects, like some of the best, because some of it was model work, some of it was CGI. Imagine the hybrid of the stop motion models with the miniatures and the CGI to clean it up, and you could have had some of the best looking Star Wars done with practical effects ever. And that would have been so cool to see the Millennium Falcon again, and it would have been so cool to see, Luke and Han and all these people fighting the good fight one more time. So they messed up big time. They could have continued that, but Lucas wanted to tell the story of Darth Vader, which the actual episode 3 story was fine, but episode 1 and 2 are just a bunch of filler and nonsense. You get a couple good things like a pod race or a great lightsaber duel, but think of what you could have had with the continuation of the characters we all know and love. Let's see, David Cook. Knowing how the woke people at Lucasfilm act, I'm afraid they're pushing DF out of Resistance out of spite. I don't know. What do you think? Well, I think that's a very good possibility. It's all about control and ideology in Hollywood. Money isn't what these people are focused on at this point, sad as it is to say. And I know you think, oh, capitalism. At least if your desire is money, you listen to your fan base and you're receptive to what they want. So if you're a toy manufacturer and you make, let's say you're Hasbro, and you know that if you make Luke Skywalker with the 20 points of articulation, he'll sell 1 million figures a year. Or you could go the Rose Tico route with 5 or 6 points of articulation and sell 50,000. But you're modern day Lucasfilm. So what do? Well, you want to appeal to a percentage of the 1% of a percentage of that percentage and sell your Rose Tico figures, while Luke, which could be made for the same money, won't get made and won't make you all that money. So spite is a powerful thing, and I'm pretty sure that Lucasfilm does a lot of shit out of spite to piss off the fans because they think they're intangible. Intangible, untouchable. They think that Star Wars is such a powerful brand that it's literally a license to print money, and that is not the case. That is not the case one bit. So we'll see about that. I wouldn't be surprised, David. I don't know when the truth will come out. King Uendo, thank you very much for your very, very generous super chat. Kathleen Kennedy could be moved to another division of Disney as a consultant. While Filoni makes sense from a creative perspective, unless he receives full editorial control, he could wind up being another Kathleen Kennedy. That's a scary thought, King Uendo. And I don't like to think about that, so damn it. Now, if she gets moved elsewhere, that's fine. Get her out. I think her crusade for the Force is female and all that stuff has damaged Star Wars. Even someone like me, who maybe I'm not a feminist, but I have not sexist in the slightest bit. Like, I always use the example when people are like, "Oh, you're just a sexist." I'm like, I'm not sexist. A 90-pound woman throwing stuntmen around in a power fantasy for like 3 people on the planet does not make her a strong woman. I know real strong women, and they're not some fictionalized version of like a wet dream for you guys. So I never listen to those things. She just needs to be taken away because she has made Star Wars into something it's not. When she actively said that she's not worried about the pre-existing fan base and she wants to include more people, I guess it seems nice in theory, but the existing fan base is what kept your shit alive. I mean, there were no Star Wars movies between 83 and 99, and Star Wars was one of the biggest brands out there still. It took a break. It came back. You got the nostalgia. You got new people like me. No other brand or franchise has done that. Thanks to the internet era, you have Masters of the Universe coming back, or back. I can't say coming back. You had the Super 7 figures. You've had conventions about those toys. Thanks to the internet and the power of that kind of marketing. But you couldn't have had Masters of the Universe come back the way it is now in 95 because it had ended fairly recently, you had that revival show in '02 that really didn't catch on. And you could pick those toys up on super clearance like I did at a Suncoast. But I digress. My point is, it was already the strongest brand ever, and she has actively gone out of her way to ruin it. Maybe she hates George Lucas personally. Maybe he, denied one of her advances, and she just has a grudge. It's probably not the case. My point is, she's going out of her way to ruin it, so she needs to be just swept aside. Now, who is in charge of Kathleen Kennedy? I always assumed that she was the boss of the Lucasfilm, and that basically Bob Iger backed her up. So if Dave Filoni gets that job and Bob Iger will continue to back up whoever runs Lucasfilm, well, then Dave Filoni can start fresh and, weed out the story group people. Now, I don't think he needs to get rid of the one guy, what's his fucking face? Leland Chee. He doesn't need to get rid of Leland Chee. People that are actually Star Wars fans. I even think you could unwoke Pablo Hidalgo and keep him around because he clearly has a knowledge of the brand. But you got to get rid of like Kiri Hart and the people that have worked on one TV show that aren't sci-fi fans. It shows that the people of modern Star Wars don't like sci-fi, don't like fantasy, don't like the bigger picture of what Star Wars, where Star Wars fits into. They don't respect the history, the lore, the legacy. They don't respect filmmaking. Get those people out. I don't care if you replace them with, purple women, blue women, men. It doesn't matter. You get the best people on the job, and you move forward with that. And I'm hoping that Dave Filoni does that, and he doesn't just become a figurehead. He doesn't just say, I'm president in name only, or Pino, and he's just, at boring meetings. That kind of happened with Stan Lee when they made him the president of Marvel. He was just busy doing boring behind-the-scenes shit, and then he quit. Look into the Stan Lee interview with Kevin Smith for all the information on that one. I don't remember what was said verbatim, but you can go check it out. An interview with Stan Lee or something like that. So thank you very much, King Uendo. That was a very, very generous super chat, and I appreciate that. John Lance. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for all the derp. Do you think the Star Wars thing was a phenomenon of the 70s and 80s that can't be recaptured in our current time? Well, John, I believe that it can't be recaptured for a few reasons. First off, Star Wars was a phenomenon in the 70s and 80s because it was a level of spectacle that had never been seen before on film. Not only was it a level of spectacle that had never been seen before on film, but it also resonated with people on a different level. You felt something when you watched those movies, but you didn't know that it was the hero's journey, the journey in all of us, the thing that we all strive for, the thing that's in every form of entertainment. Lucas learned that. He distilled it, he broke it down, and subconsciously, he made you care about every character, every archetype, every classic archetype is represented in Star Wars. That's why I think you had the cultural appeal of Star Wars. It wasn't Star Trek, which is an idealized version of the future, which is at times hokey. Star Wars was more grounded in reality, and I know that sounds crazy to say it, but look at how the weapons look. They're based off real weapons. There are things that you don't really close your mind off as complete fantasy. Yes, the space travel and hyperspace and things like that and the lightsaber, but other aspects of Star Wars feel so normal because they have names. Like Luke is a name that people name Luke. Maybe Leia's a little different, but still, there are people named Han or Hans. So there are certain things, they call Obi-Wan Ben, Uncle Owen. There are things that ground it. So people were already like, you came into Star Wars, it was this big sprawling space fantasy, but you could understand certain aspects. Plus, you had all that Joseph Campbell study in Star Wars that people didn't even realize what was going on. And then, like I said, it was the spectacle, and there was nothing like it. The reason it's not going to be ever replicated, and the closest thing is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is the novelty. Star Wars blew people away. It was also a first for the action figure world. They were 3 3/4 inch when your average figure was like 8 to 12 inches tall. You had all the ships made, well, not all the ships, but a wide variety of ships. You had play sets. You could create an entire Star Wars world in your toy room. Star Wars was always on the forefront of firsts. When you have those firsts, people always remember it. Speaking of remembering, people have the nostalgia and the good feeling towards their childhood with Star Wars. They want to introduce the next generation. The next generation, can find it on their own and have the same good feeling towards Star Wars. Just for the hell of it, I was at my local half-price bookstore and I picked up a Power of the Force 2 Luke Skywalker action figure, and it was in the box, brand new. Now, they're the super buff Luke Skywalkers, but because I have a good feeling towards that time in my life, I bought another one. And, I'm thinking about getting the entire first wave of the original Power of the Force 2 line. Why? Because of nostalgia and because it makes me feel good. And that's what Star Wars had going for it. But by that same accord, I won't go out and buy new shit. I won't go spend $400 on a Hot Toys doll. Why? Because one, they don't look enough like Harrison Ford. But two, I don't want to send the message to Disney that what you're doing is right. So that's why they won't capture that. And that's why, and the reason Marvel's so big is because it's the modern spectacle, it's the modern fairy tale, and the interconnected universe on this scale is new. Other films had interconnected universes like the John Hughes movies, the Kevin Smith movies, but this is the first time that it's gone on for a decade straight with blockbuster after blockbuster, and they've taken painstaking detail in connecting the dots. So, John, Star Wars could be a continuing success if they just played their cards right, but they're choosing not to. Rhino4563. Good morning, Jeff Muffington. Didn't Mike Zero cover that Obi-Wan was in production in Ireland? I got to get him on High Council. Or LOL got to get him on High Council. Mike Zero probably did cover that because, like I said, there was talk from a Bantha something website. I even talked about it in one of the videos because there was an article that wasn't a Mike Zero production or however he says that shit. I keep thinking everybody's Jeremy with another video. Sorry, it's early. That's always what I think, though. But no, there was stuff about it, so Mike Zero didn't make that one up. But I guess that news article was bullshit. Star Wars is in an interesting place right now where, they could just lie and tell us there's more shit coming from Obi-Wan and then try to work it out down the road. But no, that's not the case. So, Rhino, thank you. Yeah, Mike Zero did say that, but I had seen that other places too. Samuel Aragon says, Poohcock is Doomcock's movie-making brother. Thank you, Samuel. Good morning to you, Abomino. Let me catch up on these. I'm a little behind. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I appreciate that. Let's see. I think the next one is Rocket Insano. Give me a moment to... let me pull up the other window so to make sure I didn't forget anybody's. Because like I said, I always feel bad if I forget reading one of these on air. It makes me feel kind of bad. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Wow. Let's see. John Lance, sorry I forgot about the derp part. Okay. There we go. Cesario, Japan. Here's where we should be properly. Posted your toy graveyard video on Reddit, and someone noted a ton of the Last Jedi Star Wars toys couldn't even sell in Vietnam with a discount. How bad is that? First off, Cesario, Japan, thank you. I appreciate everybody who would take the time to go out and share those videos like that. I noticed a big upsurge in views after we had like a real weird dry period. So thank you. If you guys go out and do that, always that's appreciated. That's what I mean by spreading the word of world-class bullshitters. But we've actually had a few people on the Facebook page come out and say, hey, this is my part of the world and this stuff isn't moving. Now, I've been really busy with, High Council streaming and all this other stuff, but I do want to get all that stuff together and try to make a video discussing how Star Wars just sits everywhere in the world and have that be like the ultimate Star Wars toy video, because maybe I cover the Midwest, but now the whole world's getting involved. And that is bad. That is sad, Cesario, Japan. Let's see. Rocket Insano says, we complained about the pandering. Now we beg for it. Well, you don't know what you got till it's gone, I guess. Benny Warren, thank you very much. Obi-Wan versus a vengeful Mace Windu trying to eliminate the Skywalker line. Can we get that into a fan film? Can we get a fan film on? We can get some fan films back on the channel. If that was a fan film, that'd be an interesting one. Who would play? Could you imagine if, let's say I won the lottery, I would commission just a private fan film with Ewan McGregor and Samuel L. Jackson. I'm like, can you guys reenact a couple Star Wars scenes? I'll pay you. It's it's an acting job, and this will never see the light of day. And then it accidentally gets leaked to YouTube. That'd be kind of cool. But if you're asking about regular fan films, yeah, we'll get back to those. This month, like I said, this week we have a couple things, and then next week at the High Council, a big announcement to make there, and then we're going to Horror Hound in Indianapolis. So pretty much the rest of August is kind of tied up right now. So thank you, Benny Warren. The Cobra Viper. Here, this should cover Power of the Force Wave 1. Thank you for your $2, Cobra Viper. I actually paid $5 for Luke. It was cool. It's mint condition, obviously, in the package, and it's the long saber variant. For a while, that actually meant something. And not anymore, but still, at one point in time, it mattered. Let's see, where else are we? Sean Gilbert. It was recreated. The Force Awakens is number one of all time, but then Kathleen Kennedy. Well, The Force Awakens is only number one. Well, if you take inflation into account, which you should, Force Awakens is not number one. Actually, Force Awakens is not number one anywhere. I believe Avatar is still the number one film of all time. Even domestically, I got to look at the numbers. But I'm pretty sure, domestically, the highest grossing film domestically adjusted for inflation is the original Star Wars with $1.6 billion. Episode 7, $900 million. So it's not even a competition. I mean, and think of that too. That's how many more tickets were sold. We looked that up on the show. It was like one was 70 million, the other one was like 90 million. You guys can look it up. Those aren't the actual numbers I'm quoting. I'm just pulling it out of my head. I knew we had confirmation that the original Star Wars sold more tickets than The Force Awakens. At $2 as well. That movie, that and Night of the Living Dead, I would venture to guess, are the two most widely viewed films of all time. Oliver Pocock says, Disney should hire Timothy Zahn to adapt the Thrawn trilogy to film and get a director who can produce war films and get actors who look like the original cast, i.e. Sebastian Stan as Luke. I can get behind this 100%. Timothy Zahn still works on these Star Wars books, and you could get a war film out of Star Wars. So like a Nolan for, what was that movie he did? Dunkirk? Or do you want Spielberg in the style of Saving Private Ryan? I guess we'd have to make it be a World War II style epic again in Star Wars, because they used World War II footage for animatics and stuff like that back in the day. This could be cool. I like to think of it as a cool possibility. But again, I mean, I love these. I love these ideas. It only saddens me that they won't happen. I mean, if you had that magical button to press to make these things happen, but you wipe out, a lot of good that's come from episode 7 through 9's current, mistakes, I don't know what I'd press. I know Mahler asked that question, and I had a hard time answering it. But I'd like that, a hard war Star Wars flick, and it wouldn't be as boring in times as Rogue One. Rogue One could have been that. They tried to make it that, but, what's his face? Forrest Whitaker. And it's just, there were just some boring parts of that movie. That's the movie's biggest offense, is there are just some boring parts. But K2SO was incredible, and I fucking love that character. And I bought that character's action figure because it was $4. Thank you, Alan Tudyk. And thank you, Oliver Pocock. Reed Palantia says, with the current damage, right away, Reed, thank you very, very much. With the current damage, it may take more than 1 to 2 movies to get profit figures back up. The longer the damage goes, you might end up waiting years for it to heal sufficiently for another movie. Not a great solution. Yeah, I don't see that as a great solution myself. Why not just get in front of it? Much like another current situation where there's a giant boulder falling on a YouTuber. Why not get in front of your problem, address it directly, and hope that the goodwill of the people can help them move on? With the Star Wars situation, you're in a dry spell right now. They're probably not going to make very much money. They know that. They know that with no new movies, very few pieces of merchandise hitting the stores, that, funnily enough, the stuff that's going to come out really only interests the old school collectors, like the Admiral Piet Black Series action figure. What little kid really knows Admiral Piet? No, those little kids are like, it'd be like a little kid wanting a General Hux figure. They just don't. I mean, personally, I like Admiral Piet because, he's the only guy that Vader didn't kill. He went out like a bitch, but still. I had a soft spot for him, especially in Empire when the Falcon jumped into lightspeed. I was like, oh my God, you're going to kill him. And then no. And it was actually scarier that Vader just walked by him. I talked about intros and exits in films yesterday. That's a great one. But yeah, just hoping that this all blows over, like chilling at the Winchester. It doesn't sound like a slice of fried gold there, Shawnee boy. It just sounds like a big mistake. They need to get in front of this before Star Wars Celebration, because we're not going to cause problems. We're going to hang out and meet our fan base. The fandom menace is strong. And like Ethan said last night, he's going to have a pie party and beer and stuff. And we're going to have a thing. I think we have a listener out there, the Jacob Bite. That's his YouTube name. He talked about a bar that we could possibly get. We need to lock that down and have an event. I mean, the fandom menace is a cool community. Talk about diverse community. We got people from all over the world, every walks of life. People are coming in from all over to go to Star Wars Celebration and to hang out with us. We can show them that just because we dislike your movies, we're not an angry, hateful, crazy fringe group of violent individuals. We're just a group of people that are unhappy with what you did to our Star Wars. We want an answer, and what we'll do is not support your brand until you give us that answer. No harm will come to anyone. No, anything bad will happen. It'll just be straight up, we're not going to pay to see that. And I think they need to get this under control before April of next year, because we will remember. And, you can feel when the energy is different at a place. You go into somewhere and the energy is high, you're excited. Like, I know people don't like wrestling, but when you go to WrestleMania, everyone's there to see the biggest show of the year, and you're pumped and you're into the moment and everyone's having a good time. If everyone's going into Star Wars Celebration knowing the bullshit that Disney pulled off, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle all of this. Probably not very well. And so, yes, Reed Plancha, I agree 100%. It's not a great solution. They need to just get out in front of it and apologize right now. Zorant00, thank you very much. At this point, Disney should stop making Grand Galaxy Star Wars stories about Jedi/Sith and just do stories set in the universe. That way, they can get fans BK. Back. Yeah, here's a shitty pitch. Do a pod racing movie in the vein of an old Speed Racer cartoon. There you go. There's my first pitch. Second pitch. Bounty Hunter story. You know what would be really great? Just bite the fucking bullet and make that Boba Fett movie. No more bullshit. No more waiting. Just say, hey, Boba Fett's coming out 2022. It's going to be the Star Wars underworld story told. Boom, there you go. Old fans, new fans. Hype will be high. You don't have to worry about the practical effects and real sets being shoved down our throats. Oh, this is the lens from the original film. No, all you do is you throw out Boba Fett and you make a badass story. Make it the hardest PG-13 you can think of, almost into our territory. Think of it like this. Revenge of the Sith had decapitations, amputations, burnings, Padme died. All kinds of shit happened in that movie. Yoda threw a lightsaber in that dude's head. No, his chest, cut that dude's head off. All kinds of shit happened in those movies. Put us back in the Star Wars universe, the grimy, dark era, and make that so. Don't worry about this light, fun Ewok and ebullient bullshit. Just give us straight up gangster flicks in the Star Wars universe and throw Boba Fett in there, and boom, you can get fans back. There are so many easy ways to get. Like, they should hire me as an ambassador to the fans, and basically all they'll do is ask me to come up with concepts for movies. And I'll basically pull you guys and I'll say, this is what the fans want. And that would be my whole job. They can cut me a check for $4 trillion and I'll go back to making this show every morning. Dylan Kerbal, please invite Alex Becker's channel on the next Tuesday. We invite people. They don't always respond back, Dylan, but we'll see what's going on. Grendel Fan 84, there you are. Good morning from Comics Elite. Due to us doing 4 shows in a row, we will not have a table at Horror Hound. However, we will be attending. Well, at least you'll be there. I'm sorry that you won't have a table, but you better come and find the world-class bullshitters table, because I want to hang out with you. I got a ton of shit to talk about. And by the way, anyone who plans on attending Indianapolis Horror Hound the 24th through the 26th, there will be a giant banner, and I do mean giant because I already bought it and I checked it out, with my face, Dion's face, Nick and Kendo's faces. It's the logo that we use over on the YouTube channel now. I got a giant banner. It's taller than I am. We're gonna have we have the best business cards I've ever seen. Not trying to toot our own horns. I paid for the deluxe ones. They got the rounded edges, the UV gloss, so like we're raised off the card. You might look, if we have any left over, I'll just mail away a couple as thank yous to you guys, because like these are the coolest business cards I've ever seen. One, my face is on them, and two, I'm just pumped. But Grendel fan, I'll be looking forward to meeting you in general. Hopefully you're there at night so we can hang out and shoot the shit after the show. Dio Brando, did you hear about EA's president resigning? I did not, Dio Brando. Let me read these next 2 super chats, and I'll look up an article, and we'll talk about that on air. Shane Goyne says, why doesn't Star Wars sell in China, and why not? Well, let's see. From what they tell us, that Star Wars doesn't sell in China because when it came out and it was new in the cultural icon that it became, or when it was becoming the cultural icon it became, it wasn't out in China, so people don't have the strong emotional connection to it. I guess that's what they tell us in the media. I don't know how much you choose to believe them. They also, I think they call it Baizu or Baizo. They don't like the leftist American politics in Star Wars or any of these movies, so that also doesn't work in China. Certain work, robots, superheroes, other things work from China, but there's something about Star Wars that just doesn't hit there. And I think Disney needs to understand that and focus on your core fan base, strengthen that, and not worry about it. King Cutlet, I want a TV series called The Outer Rim. Well, while you're waiting, you should watch The Outer Limits. But in all seriousness, The Outer Rim could be an interesting show. It could deal with just different, desolate tales. That would actually work really well as like a series of shorts, in my opinion. You can talk about the Hutts, you can talk about this and that. You could have little pieces of like classic characters pop in and out, but just never Luke, maybe Jabba, maybe Boba Fett, but other than that, no Luke, and just do stuff like that. I like that idea though for the Outer Rim. Sean Gilbert says, no Obi-Wan new strategy isn't to change, but starve us out to give a feeling that 9 is it for a while, and we can't skip it like Solo. That's an interesting point of view. If only they knew how angry the fans were about this shit, and they're not worried about. A lot of these places like put out little, what's the word I'm looking for? Surveys and things like that, and they try to get their information from that. But they should be really paying attention to stuff like this. The vocal fans that are willing to throw down serious bucks and go and travel and do this stuff for Star Wars because they love it. They need to pay attention to places like here because the fans are really, really, really passionate. We can always call the bullshit and see through the lies. Like, oh, they're starving us out. I disagree. Whoever said it earlier, Reed Palanche, talking about making people wait. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. You got to just get out in front of it and just be like, boom, this is the case, and this is what we're doing, and gives people some hope. Marvel announces all this shit, far in advance, and it doesn't hurt the box office of the Avengers or anything. If anything, it gets excitement because you know where they're going to go, and that gives you time to get interested in the characters. So if they do tell you about this Obi-Wan flick, and they publish a couple of books, put out an Obi-Wan, they re-release the Black Series Obi-Wan with a new face sculpt, you could get people really kind of pumped and make a couple $1 million in the process to kind of help make up for losses from Solo or a lack of, people wanting Rey and Kylo Ren action figures. So now that I'm all caught up, first off, thank you, everybody. Obi-Wan again. EA president steps down. Okay. That's from 2013. Let's see. I don't see that anywhere on here. Did I hear about EA's president resign? The only thing that's popping up on Google right now, Dio Brando, is from March 18th of 2013 or June 12th of 2018. That's it. So if you guys want to link me to an article, I'll gladly cover that on the show, but there's nothing here. Reed Planch says they know about the anger towards the movies. They just don't accept it, excuse me. Accepting it is the first step to improving upon it. And I feel like they just want a reason to fail and blame someone else. It's like, it's not our fault, guys. I swear, Kathleen, it's not our fault. It's the angry white minority fans. It's like, yo, stop. We're just tired of being called those things, and we're just not going to show up to the movie. It's really as simple as that. There are 20 other things I could do when Rian Johnson's trilogy opens. If it gets, I'm still holding off that it's not getting made. Like EVS said last night, no more news on Rian Johnson's trilogy. There's talks of the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, and there's obviously the Jon Favreau shows moving forward, but they don't give you any more information. There's so many things in the Star Wars pipeline. It's all backed up and not good for anything. They just need to pay attention, and they need to, they need a Kevin Feige, a man of the people. They need someone that the fans can get behind. Most people that I talk to in person about Kathleen Kennedy, they don't even know I have this channel, don't either know who she is or have anything good to say, but they know, some of these people know who Kevin Feige is, and they're all pumped for these Marvel movies. Like, I almost went out yesterday and picked up Infinity War on Blu-ray because I was like, oh man, I gotta get that one. I gotta watch it again. I'm still pissed at myself that I only caught it once in theaters. Normally I'm like, I've seen that movie. It's enough. So I think, let's see. Yes, I didn't say blacked up. I said backed up, like a, like your colon. One Angry Gamer has the EA leaving story on the front page. Let's see. One Angry Gamer. .net. Checking my browser. Okay. Let's see. If someone wants to shoot me the link on Twitter, I'll cover it because I'm on the page right now. Next page. Oh, Patrick Soderlund departs from Electronic Arts after calling Battlefield 5 critics uneducated. I guess that's what you want me to talk about. Okay, let's click on it and find out. Read more. In recent news, Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson addressed the departure of Chief Design Officer Patrick Soderlund. The latter name is the one who called Battlefield 5 critics uneducated and did not want them to buy the game. Well, he left EA and is now looking for his next life adventure. Let me pull this up on screen for a second so you guys can get a view of it. You know what this reminds me of? Does anyone out there own an Xbox? Don Matrick was the guy that said, yeah, we have something. We have a console for those who don't want to be online at all time. It's called the Xbox 360. And the Xbox One's launch was a dumpster fire. Is Becker still here? Was Alex Becker ever here? Is that the real guy? Well, if he's here, what's up, dude? I can add him. I guess people want you on the channel, man. If you're free, we'll talk. You know how to contact me over on Twitter. We're very open. So, Patrick Soderlund departs. Like I said, I read that. Now let's talk about what it says, though. The women in Battlefield. This is something that the development team pushed. Battlefield 5 is not about the unseen. Sorry, Battlefield 5 is a lot about the unseen, untold, unplayed, he continued. The common perception is that there are no women in World War II. There are a ton of women who fought in both World War II and partook in the war. Soderlund would also bring his daughter into the whole fiasco in the following. I felt like in today's world, I have a 13-year-old daughter that when the others came out, she saw the flack and she asked me, Dad, why is this happening? She plays Fortnite and says, I can be a girl in Fortnite. Why are people so upset about this? Wow. Well, clearly this is a child that's asking these questions because they don't understand how history works. She looked at me and said she couldn't understand it. And I'm like, okay, as a parent, how the hell am I going to respond to this? And I just said, you know what? You're right. This is not okay. First off, what's not okay, Patrick, is your stance on this. My grandma was in World War II. I don't want to hear some bullshit about people said there shouldn't be women in the war. We're not saying that at all. But let's be realistic to the overarching thing. You want historical accuracy in these games? Your daughter plays Fortnite, great. It's a fictional fucking world. Go play Fortnite. Go play PUBG. Go play all these other made up games. They're made up games. It's like, Saving Private Ryan. They're trying to be a historical drama. This is trying to be a historical game under the guise of action adventure or first person shooter. Don't try to don't listen to your kid. Your kid's 13 years old. I had tons of questions at 13 years old. You know what? I'm 29 now. I realize that, you get older, you mature, you get through shit, and you learn. Your kid is not the moral compass for the team's piss poor decisions to push gender equality in a World War II game. It's a reflection of the time. Reflect the time. Make the game. Focus on the gameplay. Don't worry about the damn microtransactions and loot crates. Make a great game that plays well and make it accurate to the shit. That's really all I have to say about this. I'm not really I wasn't going to buy Battlefield or Battlefront or whatever the hell it's called. I wasn't, I don't care. I like video games, but I don't have the time for them. And I know this sounds really weird to say on this channel, but I played the new Kirby, and Kirby is higher up on my list than any of the first-person shooters. Like, for me, if I'm going to buy games this year, Smash Brothers, Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption are the 3 new games I want. And then there's a couple Nintendo Switch games that I really, really want to play. Yeah, Alex Becker's still in the chat. I mean, I'm reaching my hand out. If he ever wants to come on the channel, he's always welcome to. I don't really close myself off to other YouTubers. We've been lied to by one YouTuber who's, falling apart right now, and I won't be, offering that handout to him. He's already been on the channel. You know who I'm talking about. But other than that, I don't hold grudges towards people or channels. I don't actually have never said anything bad about the dude. I do love, though, his Star Wars video that he made where he's trying to help people become more searchable. When he searches himself for his video that pops up at number 1, there I am right at number 2. So I must have been doing something right the whole time. Oh, let's see. Here we got. I won't be buying. Yeah, I'm not going to buy it. Buy the mouse pad. I should buy the mouse pad. That looks kind of fun. Speaking of fun, would you guys like to see the fan art from EVS? Now let's move into our fan art segment. Now, first off, the fan art comes from Curtis Hammond or Hamenda. I apologize if I butcher his name. Now, Curtis is a super fan of the channel. He's over on our Facebook page. Great artist. Has a lot of talent. I showed this to EVS last night on the High Council. I thought you guys should have another chance to look at the giant picture of EVS fighting the pie in his panties. So enjoy that. I know people love to talk about Agent 007XL, Ethan Van Piver. He's my favorite secret agent. If you want to get rid of James Bond, you have to replace him with 007XL. Yeah, that ass. Man. I didn't realize they're doing a new Spyro, Matanui. I'll have to check it out. Ghetto Bible. Everyone knows women won World War II and beat the patriarchy. Ghetto Bible, I guess I need to get my Encyclopedia Dramatica out and make sure that I'm not the guilty one for being ignorant here. Oh, no, that's a pie. You can see the tin. It's just a different type of pie. Turtles in a Half Show. People are loving that, yeah. The fatness of the ass is impressive. Yeah, if I drew this, it would be very, I don't know, he'd either be super masculine and muscular or he would look like a chick. So press 1 if you had enough of this and you'd like to see today's bad fan art, because it's very, very funny, the bad fan art for today. And it's actually a couple pieces. EVS is thick, spelled with 2 C's. Yeah, almost 600 watching. Good Morning Pop Culture has really, really taken off, and it's now successful, and I love doing it. Yesterday, I didn't have enough sleep because Monday, I did yard work, and Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are heavy lifting days at the gym, but I made it, and today, I drank 2 extra cups of coffee and ate a brownie for breakfast, so I'm full of sugar and caffeine, and I'll probably crash right after this. Cesar Japan, here's $2. Get it off. Get it off! Okay, fine. You paid for me to get rid of it, so there we go. Now let's look at today's bad comic book art. I believe one of these images are photoshopped, but either way, let's have a look at these. Yeah, hit the button, derpers. So there you go, Nathaniel Rourke. Just for you, because you said let's see it. Here it is. So here is the bad comic book art. This is the derp. You guys were talking about derp. The derp is strong with this one. Yes, the derp stripes back. The farting hippo. No one ever remembers the hippos and monkeys role in World War II. Boom. Yeah, we're really bad historians if we don't pay attention to the monkeys and hippos' roles in the battles of World War II. Personally, I don't go a single day without respecting their sacrifice on the battlefield. Yeah, I think the Green Lantern one's photoshopped the eyes part. I wouldn't be. I think the Jack Kirby one's photoshopped too, but it's just for a laugh. Now, Jack Kirby is the most important comic book artist of all time and one of the best ever. There's no debating about that. If you don't know who Jack Kirby is, make sure you go look at any of your Marvel and now DC films because his work is still present in all of those. Jack Kirby was responsible for Captain America, Thor, Fantastic Four, the X-Men. He designed Spider-Man's suit a little better. Well, no. Ditko designed the suit. Kirby drew the first cover for Amazing Fantasy 15, and Ditko inked that. Jack Kirby worked on Avengers. And the thing is, he was doing all these books at once, too. So that guy would put out 5 books a month. He had a family. He was the hardest working man in comics. That's why I get a little pissy when people are like, Stan Lee created this. I'm like, give Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko their just due as well. But Jack Kirby, one of the all-time greats. A lot of powerful work. His work still is discussed today. It was ahead of its time. It's still better than everything you're going to see. Not everything, but in terms of storytelling, it's better than a lot of what you get from Marvel and DC today. No, that first picture is not balls. Let me scroll up and show you that it's actually Thor. I believe that's Walt Simonson Thor. Now, that's just stylized, intentionally stylized. But the Green Lantern one from Gil Kane is my ultimate favorite one because he's just like, he's looking up at the Flash who's about to puke on him. Yeah, Green Lantern looks like he's taking a shit. Dio Brando says, Captain America has diversity in comic eyes. Is your boy Zach that broken? Jack Kirby is awesome. Yeah, Jack Kirby is awesome. Was awesome. He passed away in 1994. I don't get overly nostalgic, and I don't say he's my favorite artist or, go on and say everything he drew was amazing and perfect. But it would have been nice for him to live to see the movies pan out the way they have today, because I think if anyone would take pleasure in it, Jack Kirby would have been that person. But he'd also have been like 100 years old, I think. Green Lantern looks like someone's squeezing his balls and he's loving it. Hey, maybe he is. Maybe that's the kind of guy Hal Jordan is. It was the 50s. Got to keep your secrets safe. I was always a Marvel kid. Jack Kirby was the greatest. Yeah. Romita Sr. is my personal favorite artist. That his line is clean and perfect. The anatomy's perfect. He's a big step up from Steve Ditko in terms of Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's my favorite character, so I kind of gauge directly on that. When you nut so hard, you derp into maximum over derp. Yeah. Peggy. Or wait, yeah. Peggy Carter would have been, with Captain America. Would you guys like to see Chris Evans reenact this scene in the next Captain America flick? I would. I hope that's how he goes out in Infinity War Chapter 2. King Eric the 15th says, Green Lantern, I've released the Kraken. Cap looks like he was kicked in the nuts by the Red Skull. King Uendo says, Green Lantern looks like he's doing something suggestive to Captain America and making the Flash watch. Yeah, he really does. Give it to him, Hal. I guess that power ring is more powerful than adamantium. Not adamantium, vibranium, excuse me. Can Chris Evans derp that hard? He's a great actor. Anything's possible. Ghetto Bible, welcome back. Did you talk about the New Gods movie? Is it about Barda? I didn't think there was news about the New Gods movie. I know that Ava DuVernay, who directed the all-time classic flop, Oprah the Giant movie, aka A Wrinkle in Time, was on the New Gods, which just seems stupid because her last movie was a flop and she doesn't seem like a qualified fan of this stuff. And you know they're going to give it all the pomp and circumstance. It's the first superhero movie directed by a female of color. It's like, look, there are black female directors out there that can do great shit, but Ava DuVernay has not instilled any faith in me based on her previous work. So why should I be excited for the movie? Probably won't see it. I mean, realistically, we live in a post-Justice League world where your next flick, you're going to have like 6 Jokers in your universe who we don't know who Batman is. Superman's a zombie with a fake lip. There's just so much confusion right now at the DCEU. I, for one, would like them to get their shit together, but then again, I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. We especially have the Titans to look forward to in the DC streaming service. So if any DC fans are out there saying, guys, you're just being negative fanboys, stop hating. Guys, we're not hating. We've seen the last 5 movies. Wonder Woman was better than expected. That's about as positive as you can get. It was better than expected, erring on the side of pretty good. It wasn't perfect. It had a terrible ending. Gal Gadot, or Gadot, or however you pronounce her fucking name, did a much better job than expected as well, because she was robotic in BVS, but brought it in Wonder Woman. I guess it goes to show you that Zack Snyder is just not good with actors. Yeah, we'll have another Wonder Woman movie. Wonder Woman 1984 with Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. Now, I think Kristen Wiig is a fine actress, but I can't take her seriously. Like, when I watched The Martian, I laughed when she appeared on screen because I think of her as a comedic actress. I think of Red Flag and all that shit. I can't take her seriously. It's kind of like with Ed O'Neill. He was on a TV show after Married with Children where he's playing a judge, and you just can't take him seriously. It's Al Bundy. Dio Branda says her Green Lantern is Nicolas Cage. It does look eerily enough like Nicolas Cage. A, B, C, G, E, F, G. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Lots of love for Gal. Yeah, I love her too. She's so good. Let's see who else we got. Am I the only one who hated the Wonder Woman movie? No, you're not the only one. And it doesn't make you a sexist for disliking it. The movie's not perfect. For me, it was better than expected. So my expectations were subverted, and I was happy with what I saw. But it's not the best superhero movie ever made. Far from it. It's good, but it's not like Batman good. Sorian Sky says, BVF, Captain America. Why did everyone get a sex change? Good question. Why did everyone get a sex change? Because they went woke at Marvel. As a woman, I liked it until the Ares fight. Sakura, that's a very good point. That's where the movie lost it for me. I thought Wonder Woman could have taken the high ground, no Star Wars pun intended. And when you go to fight the final Ares battle, it turns out there was no Ares or something like that. And her battle, her struggle was with learning humanity and society. And that to me would have made her morally a step above the Batmans and the Superman movies. And it would have made it stand out and been an even stronger story. I would have liked that a lot more. But no, the other day I popped on Wonder Woman for a moment. And, sometimes you watch specific scenes. I watched the final battle, and I realized how much I just hate that scene. The thing in the upper left is Thor's chin. I wouldn't show anything inappropriate here on YouTube because I like live streaming, and I don't want to get shut down. The Cobra Viper says, I read this comic. Thor retelling the time Flash walked in on Cap and Green Lantern going broke back. I feel so sorry for the Flash. He's so innocent. He's so innocent. Linda Carter was one of the most beautiful women ever. Yep. Not going to argue that, man. Linda Carter still looks good to this day, but Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. You're not going to find a much better looking woman ever. She just had it all. And she seemed like a nice person, too, which is always nice. As much as I like The Rock, and he's so cool on TV, turns out he's a good dude in real life, and that makes me like him even more. But yeah, Linda Carter, one of the all-time greats. When you look back at classic TV shows, she's head and shoulders above everyone else in terms of, looks. She still looks great by today's standards. Beauty standards change over time. You don't look at a picture of Linda Carter and go, I don't get it. No, 90% of people are like, yeah, Linda Carter, thumbs up. You sunk my battleship. Makes me think of Batman Forever. I see your Linda Carter and raise your Raquel Welch circa 1967. Yeah, again, excellent choice. You're not really it's like, who's better, hot woman or hot woman? I'm all for both. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go, ooh, gross. No, they're all great looking. All great looking. Let's see. Linda Carter is a good voice actor. See Fallout 4's Magnolia. Oh, I have not played Fallout 4 in a long time. That came out in what, 08, 09? I played that in college because I wanted to do the slow motion headshots where their head exploded and the eyeballs flew out. That's what I really liked about that. The Rock was awesome on SNL. Seems like a cool, funny dude. Yeah. You know, as the channel grows and we become the biggest name in entertainment, we'll get The Rock on here and hang out with him. He'll teach us how to do the people's elbow in Good Morning Pop Culture. Static Shock and Batman Beyond films when? You know, I don't know when, but I advocate for a revival of Static Shock and Batman Beyond on the DC streaming service. Don't give me Titans. Don't give me live action garbage. Continue the cartoons that people seem to love. Static Shock went from good to really good as you got further down the line in terms of the show. It got a lot better. He even crossed over with Justice League. Why not give us 12 animated episodes of these series? And they can basically say, guys, if we reach enough people sign up for the whole year, we can guarantee you more animated shows. Do that. The DCAU is one of the most prestigious dynasties in animation. Realistically, Warner Brothers Animation has a much better track record than Disney. And I know I'm sounding crazy because of the big blockbuster hits that Disney has. But there are so many forgettable Disney live action show, or not live action, but so many forgettable Disney animation features or shorts. And when Disney animation comes out now, it's just like, meh. But when Warner Brothers busts out like the Superman 75th anniversary or the Batman 75th anniversary short or a new, like something like that, you were like, wow. And you take a step back and you realize how great that stuff was. I mean, Batman, the animated series getting the Blu-ray release was a news headline. It wasn't just like a quick, advertisement here or like a line of dialogue. It was a headline. That show has so much power that still sticks with it to this day. I mean, I pre-ordered it. A lot of people pre-ordered it. It's, in my opinion, it's the best cartoon ever made. I wouldn't change a single thing about it. My daughter wants Young Justice to come back. Give me that. I would sign up. I heard that if the Teen Titans film does well, Young Justice is coming back, or something about Young Justice. No, other Teen Titans is coming back. And there's something about Young Justice season 3, so I think your daughter's going to be happy. I personally never liked Batman Forever, in my personal opinion. Sorry, Jeff. Don't apologize for not liking a movie that I find okay. You don't have to apologize about it. It's fine. I'm not one of these people that are like, you have to like what I like the way I like it, or I fucking hate you. No, it's fine. We have differing opinions. I hate Batman Returns. Most people like that movie. I don't. I think Batman Returns is stupid and boring, and I don't like it. I think Batman or The Dark Knight is a great movie, but I wouldn't consider it the best Batman flick either. So we all have differing takes on everything. Grendel Fan 84, thank you very much. The current Batman Beyond comic book series by legend Dan Jurgens is one of the best published DC comics. Get a taste from Comics Elite. Yeah, folks, Comics Elite. Make sure you check out their Facebook page. I was watching a couple of their live streams. Like, you're on your phone and you scroll through and you catch stuff live. I look at it like that. I joined up. And if you guys like comics and stuff, it's a good way to know when stuff is coming out, and then you can support comic books, and they can make a change. Speaking of comic books, I keep talking about the Indiegogo I'm going to launch, that Harrison Ford comic. Well, yesterday I reached out to some colorists, and I've actually had a bunch of people reach out back to me. A lot of people. There are a couple DC colorists that have reached out to me. So this book is going to be reality, and we're going to make it the best Indiegogo comic book ever. It's going to be huge. And the bigger it gets, the more traction we have to make the movie with Harrison Ford. So I know you're thinking to yourself, Jeff, that's a crazy pipe dream. Well, you know what? It's not. Kevin Garnett said anything is possible. I say that's possible. And in the world we live in today with the internet and the way fan interaction is, we can make this happen. So be prepared. I'm not just talking about it to get you excited for down the road. It's happening sooner than you think. So be on the lookout for that. Jeff, any new Mist Box toys? Mist Box toys. What do you mean by that, Darth Tico? Reed Palancios says, I noticed that a number of animated shows are being said to be converted to live action. Examples, Kim Possible and Mulan. I saw the Mulan picture. I think I showed it yesterday. And I saw the Kim Possible photo on Facebook. Now, I was in grade school when Kim Possible and Mulan came out. I don't really like either. Well, Mulan was good, but it wasn't for me. That came out when I was 9, going on 10. I honestly felt like I was over Disney flicks. Was it 98? I wanted to see Small Soldiers, and I was watching Beverly Hills Cop and stuff like that. And Indiana Jones, I thought it was too cool for animated features. So Mulan and stuff like that never really got to me. Now, I don't like the idea of live action versions of animated shit. It seems lazy and cheap, and I just won't support either of them. Like, Mulan could be the greatest movie ever made. I wasn't going to see it. I hate to be that guy, but you got my money in 98. You're not going to get it in 2020 or whatever year it comes out. Why don't I like the Big Bang Theory? I'll talk about it in a minute. I mean, I got to read the super chat from Ryan Cannell. Thank you very much, Ryan Cannell. Jeff, Young Justice Season 3 trailer will be on the DC streaming service. Trailer dropped during the SDCC. It got overshadowed by the Titan shit trailer. Oh. That's what you mean. Okay. I'll check it out. I didn't really get into Young Justice, not because I didn't like what I saw. That was 2010, 2011. I was hanging out with Joel. Joel would watch it. I would catch him playing it back on his DVR. I don't have cable. I haven't had cable for like a decade, so I never had a chance to watch many episodes. But if the DC streaming service interests me outside of the preview, I'll watch the show and I'll give it a shot and I'll come back and talk about it. I do love comic book related stuff. You know, Comicsgate is going strong. People are passionate about that art form. It's never going to go away fully. If you've noticed that people will fight for it. Well, they'll support indie stuff. They'll get out there. They'll do the Indiegogos. They'll do all those things to keep the art of comic books alive. So it'll never fully go away. And shows like Young Justice will come back, or they are, and people will keep them around. You know, quality always rises to the top. Batman Begins is just awesome. I love the pursuit in the origin of that film. Also, I like how Alfred is so much less non-subservient. Yeah, Batman Begins might be my favorite flick of the Batman. That and 89. Oh, man, I love them both. Jeff, since you like limericks, can you give a shout out to the Limerick hurling team who are playing in the All-Ireland final this Sunday? So this is a shout out to the Limerick hurling team who are playing All-Ireland final this Sunday. Good luck, guys. I hope you win. I hope you make your homeland proud. Hi, Dion. Good morning. I see you in there. Big Bang Theory lost its nad balls. Well, the Big Bang Theory was interesting enough at first, but now it became like homogenized and boring. To me, the Big Bang Theory is like a Funko Pop. It's bland, has no identity of its own, and it just represents the most basic, accessible, boring parts of any fandom. You don't need to be into the niche stuff. You don't need to watch, the hardest of, our comic book flicks or be reading every Frank Miller Daredevil issue or shit like that to be considered a fan. But much like the Funko Pops are just boring, lifeless masses that all look the same, the Big Bang Theory is all that. It's unrelatable. It's boring. It's dumb. I mean, how many times can you play the will they, won't they with Penny and Leonard and Sheldon and Amy Farrah Fowler and all these characters? They're just meh. Like, good for the actors that they're pulling down $1 million an episode. They seem like decent people, but I'm not involved with that anymore. For me personally, fuck it. Yep, just like Collider and Nerdist. Yeah, all that stuff just seems fake. There's just no air of sincerity about any of it. Dio Brando, thank you very much. I wish Small Soldiers came back. It had potential. Yeah, Small Soldiers I think came out about 20 years ago in, was it August of 1998? I caught it in theaters. I was really, really, really into it, like before the movie came out. And I'll admit, the movie, I didn't like it that much at first. So I kind of got out of Small Soldiers for a minute, but then the movie came back out, or it came out in video in like November of 98, and I was kind of back into it. But Small Soldiers did have potential. I think they made a mistake, though, by making the Commando Elite the bad guys, by trying to make the Gorgonites the heroes and having a story about, oh, the monsters are sometimes the most noblest of characters. I think you kind of shut yourself out to that wider audience. Had they gone with the Commando Elite were the good guys and they're these crazy monsters, you would have had honestly, I think it would have been a much more successful film, because the way the film was marketed, Commando Elite, the Commando Elite, the Commando Elite, I'm like, these guys look so fucking cool. Like, I wanted to go to a military surplus store and get a vest like Chip Hazard. But then you see it and they're just evil and they'd lose and die, and I'm just like, well, no thanks. Grendel Fan 84, thank you very much. I was hesitant about Young Justice, but after watching the first episode, I fell in love with the series. Almost better than Justice League AS. AS, Justice League. Oh, animated series. Okay. I prefer Justice League to Justice League Unlimited, and maybe one day I too will enjoy Young Justice the way you enjoy the series. But I got to watch it all through. I think it's what do I know? What's his name? Was it Greg Weisman, the guy that worked on Gargoyles and the Spectacular Spider-Man, worked on Young Justice? And all of his shows seem to get canceled in the second season, but all of those shows have so much quality. Like, if Marvel had its own streaming service or Disney wanted to impress me, you revive the Spectacular Spider-Man, you get everybody back. Same voice actor, same animation. It looks exactly like it did back in 2008. The theme song was catchy. That was the last great Spider-Man thing made. Everything else has been, a drop-off in quality, in my opinion. You had the action figures of Small Soldier, says Holdo's Mafia. I still got a Chip Hazard doll. Not only did I have a doll, I have a giant talking Chip Hazard. I have a regular Chip Hazard. I had the Karate Fighters version of Small Soldiers where you like spun them around and they would like kick and punch each other. I had the video games. I had a PC game. Small Soldiers was my jam for a while. I really, really loved Tommy Lee Jones as the voice of Major Chip Hazard. Too bad it never went anywhere else. Small Soldiers 2 could have been interesting. I mean, rest in peace, Phil Hartman as well. But Small Soldiers is an odd movie when you watch it back. I'll tell you this, I wish some high-end collectible company like a Hot Toys or NECA or somebody would release Small Soldiers, like 8 to 12-inch figures detailed just like the models from the movie, and put those out. I would drop $50 on a good Chip Hazard if it looked just like the movie. Oh, Street Sharks. Oh my God, that takes me back. Street Sharks. The only Street Shark toy I had was the giant Street Shark truck, and it had like a mouth on it, and you could just like make it eat figures. I used to put like Spider-Man and the X-Men in there, and they would like eat the Joker. Oh, I remember Action League now. It was the Flesh. He's super strong and super naked. Melting Man with the ability to melt. Stinky Diver, and there was a Thunder Girl. Action League now. What toy review would you like to see, Gavin Smith? I could work something out soon. If Chip Hazard and Archer were both good guys and the villain was the corporate douchebag, then the movie would have been much better. Yeah, I think that would have been cool if Dennis Leary was the villain and the toys were like, putting the chips in us, you made us sentient beings and we have to take down whatever. What was it, Globotech? That could have been interesting. Do I have a NECA Keaton's Batman? I don't, but I have the Hot Toys one. So Hot Toys is superior to NECA in every way, and I was given that as a gift for Christmas of 2012. I'm looking at it right now. Dion's seen it. He's in the chat right now. He's been into this office. He saw it. He freaked out. It was nice. Do a review of Mezco Michael Myers. When it shows up at my house, sure, Logan Michael, you got it, dude. Cobra Kai action figures. Oh, you joke about Cobra Kai action figures, but they have Karate Kid figures from NECA coming out soon. So There's Daniel-san, there's Johnny, Mr. Miyagi, there's Johnny in the skeleton costume and something else. You ever do custom action figures? I just started making Regina from Dino Crisis and the core Kong Skull Island figures ever since the line is in scale with Justice World or Jurassic World. I have not. I don't know how to paint very well or do color. And I'm one of those people, like, I want it to be accurate to a fault. So I'll just wait till someone better than I am makes it. I'll wait. So no, I've never done custom figures. Show my toy collection. I've actually shown the toy collection to a degree on a live stream once. You guys can find the video. It was like a Sunday night hangout. Picture, the icon is Rose's head being held up by Buzz Lightyear. And it was a lot of fun. You guys asked me to show specific things, and I did. The one thing about the stuff I own is I got so much stuff that I can't really, like, pull everything out to film it. So we'll see soon enough. No, I didn't play with Max Steel figures. I think Max Steel was out, 99, 2000. I was into wrestling figures back then, and if it wasn't The Rock, it wasn't cool enough for me. My favorite Nickelodeon shows were Doug. First, my favorite one was The Adventures of Pete and Pete. All-time favorite Nickelodeon show. But I liked Doug, Rugrats, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Ren and Stimpy was all right. I liked Clarissa Explains It All. I probably liked that show right after Pete and Pete. The live-action shows were more like Pete and Pete, Clarissa Explains It All, Are You Afraid of the Dark are my 3 favorite Nickelodeon shows. Maybe I'll do a retrospective of that down the road. That could be fun. Guts. I remember my cousins weren't allowed to watch Nickelodeon, but the only show they could watch on it was Guts, and I hated Guts. HBO's Tales from the Crypt watch party, make it happen on Halloween. Raul Valdez, yeah, it's happening. We're going to do season 1. I got the DVD sets for season 1, 2, and 7, and I will bust out an old DVD player, and we'll watch those. So, guys, I'm giving you 2 months and 16 days to get ready for that. I love Tales from the Crypt. We'll do watch parties on the weekends because Nick's going to be out of town for those. So we'll do Tales from the Crypt and other stuff without Nick. We'll have other guests come in. Hell, maybe some of our patrons want to join us for those. You guys know what to do. We'll have you on. We had 2 patrons on for the thing. We had the Kinky Pinkies as well as our friend the DJ D Show, and those guys were both great. The DJ D Show has a really cool voice. Kinky Pinkies has a lot of information about stuff, so he's interesting to talk to as well. And we stayed up with him till 4 a.m. shooting the shit. So those are just perks the patrons get, and everyone that's open to everybody. Billy Ritchie says, when an SJW call you an Uncle Tom, I call them Uncle Fucker. Well, you know what Terrence and Phillips said to Uncle Fuckers? Shut your fucking face. So maybe if you use that in terms of a response and you just start singing the song, you might win the day. You might win the year. Oh, salute your shorts. That'd be my number 4. I had the WCW Bash at the Beach action figure wrestling ring that floated in the water. Oh, man, that sounds kind of cool. I never did WCW toys because I got into wrestling in 99 when WCW was on its way out. So I didn't really do that franchise very much, but that sounds pretty damn cool. Kyler Coates says, haven't sent a super chat in a while. Just saying hello. Well, thank you, Kyler Coates, very much. I'm glad that you still listen to the show, and I thank you very much for sending in the super chat. Yes, R.I.P. Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I meant to say it yesterday. Jim the Anvil Neidhart was only 63, which isn't very old. I haven't looked into his cause of death yet, but, his daughter Natalia's got to be feeling it. And it's weird. They had an image of the Hart Foundation, and Bret Hart was the only one still left alive. British Bulldog, Owen Hart, Brian Pillman, and now Jim the Anvil Neidhart. They're all dead, and Bret's the last living member of the Hart Foundation. So that's kind of rough. It'd be like watching all your best friends die. Kind of a dark place for that dude. Dion, how the hell did Legends of the Hidden Temple freak you out as an adult? Were you drunk? Probably. Okay, so Raul Valdez is definitely excited for the Tales from the Crypt watch party. Fine, it's going to happen, dude. GrendelFan84 says, I'll be there for Tales from the Crypt. GrendelFan84, shoot me private messages. We'll get you on. We'll figure out dates for everybody, and we'll break it down. We'll do maybe 3 or 4 episodes in one sitting, and then we'll talk about them. And now, Grendel fan, since you're in the comic book business, I expect you to bring some knowledge about the Tales from the Crypt EC books, and we'll have a discussion too. Because we're entertaining on the channel, but we like to teach people some stuff about entertainment as well. Green 49285, the asshole says, "Hello, Kyler Coates, you sexy bitch." Raul Valdez says, "I'll join the Patreon, but I need my muff bullshitter rank." Kyler Coates says, "I've been wanting to come on the show / patron hangout one of these days, but I've either been too busy or too nervous." Oh, don't be nervous, Kyler. I'll put it like this. If you're too nervous to be on, we can make a time where you talk to me off air and, we'll just hang out and get used to the format of the show. You clearly listen to everything we do, so you know how the show goes. But I will tell everyone that is too nervous to appear on the show, it's really easy. Ask Ghetto Bible. Ghetto Bible, Obi-Wan 2 something something. A couple of the guys, what's this fucking Tap and Die? A lot of these guys were nervous at first to be on the show, but then you get here and, there's nothing intimidating about it. It's just a good time. If you want all the bullshitters on, we'll do what we can do to get everybody. And just relax, man. It's it's a good time. What's my favorite book? Yes, you did, Michael. You did hear Tales from the Crypt. It's happening in October. My favorite book is Of Mice and Men. I absolutely love that book. Admiral Piet, also known as Aaron. "Hey, Jeff, I just want to say thanks for being here to help me get through these shitty training videos at work. They're so cringe." Admiral Piet, Aaron, thank you for listening to us while you're at work. I hope your training videos are through soon, because I've had to watch training videos. They suck. Has anyone here had a chance to watch the Wendy's training videos? Because those are actually kind of fun. But yeah, thank you, Admiral Piet. I'm glad you survived The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm so sorry that kamikaze pilot put you to an end in Return of the Jedi. I love that scene so much. Come on, Kyler, you can't be worse than Nasser. I actually found Nasser on Facebook the other day. He was promoting his comic in a page that I'm also a member of, and I was like, "Hey, man, thanks for being on the show." So, yeah, I know we're world-class bullshitters. We do what we do, but we're approachable. Like, especially in Chicago. If you're too nervous to meet us, don't be. We're all part of the fandom menace. So I may be a giant dude, but I'm not a giant douche. That's Dion. Ghetto Bible says, "Don't be nervous. It's fun." Good mic, though. Yeah, Ghetto Bible knows what's up. Get a good mic, because there's nothing worse than terrible audio in people's ears. They will stop listening. They will leave. It's just no fun for anybody. But, decent mics are only about $30 to $40. So get them for yourself. Use it as an excuse to get on the channel. And then, you know what you do? You start your own YouTube stuff. And you make content and have fun. It's a great thing. I will say one thing. Batman Forever is a billion times better than the shitty Last Jedi. You damn right. And thank you, Raul, by the way. I appreciate that. I just got the email. You're going to hold me to that $5 bet, Amy? You got it. I love your channel. I found it only recently, and it's gold. I've been listening to it at work and love your discussion and the points that rises about what's going on in movies. Well, thank you. I think was it Xavier? I apologize if I butcher your name, but I appreciate that. And I'm always interested to hear how people found the channel. I know a lot of people tell me it's the toy videos. A lot of people tell me it's the Last Jedi stuff. Hell, you can tell a longtime fan, "I found you during The Force Awakens," and then they stuck with us through what I consider dark era of world-class bullshitters when we were trying to, learn how to walk. Because now we're running, and we're on that fast track to 100,000 subscribers. We have fan meetups. Like, all these things are real now. And if you stuck with us through the dark ages, I thank you. Like Brian Lape, Channel Dad Brian Lape, he's been here since the beginning. Liquid Metal Pro, all those dudes have been super supporters. Tap and Die's been around for a long time. So thank you to everybody. Let's see, who else is popping up? Is that EVS in the thumbnail? No. You guys liked the recent, it's the toy videos for Mondi. Sakura found me looking for Star Wars videos. Practical effects are cool in Batman Forever. Yeah. You found us in the High Council. Found it by listening to Mauler and Rags. Love their content announced. Yeah, Mauler is fantastic. And the Dishonored Wolf was great too. I had never met him until Monday. But Mauler is a cool dude, and he's very, very nice. And I like that. When someone's smart and has insightful points and all that stuff, I love it. When they're a cool person as well, then I really, really like you. And I always want to work with you. Farting Hippo says, I found you through Geeks and Gamers, who I found through Alex Becker, who I also found through Bully Hunters crap. Oh, okay. Well, Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy's a good dude. He's cool. If you ever need his help, he's like, here's my number, man. Call me. So I've talked to Jeremy quite a few times on the phone. He's always, bouncing ideas off me or giving me help. So he's cool. Let's see. Ryan says, I subbed you guys during the lead up to The Last Jedi. I haven't stopped watching since. I've seen you around quite a bit, Ryan Cannell. Thank you very much. Mauler and Dishonored Wolf seem to be joined at the hip. Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday. I really liked how we had two guys that were clearly had friendship outside of just appearing on a YouTube channel. Like, one of my favorite streams was the Mauler retro blasting Razor Fist thing. That was crazy. It was a lot of fun. It was a great back and forth discussion. But Mauler and Dishonored Wolf knowing each other brought a certain level. It's like when Dion and I are on something. We're best buddies. You get it. It makes it better to listen to, in my opinion. True 02 Baller says, I've been here since the Steve Harvey episode. Not a damn week goes by that I don't hear about that Steve Harvey episode. I'm so embarrassed. Have I watched Wolf's solo review? Yes, I have. I've watched all of Wolf's Star Wars content. I was aware of who he was before we had him on the channel. I'd love to meet the High Council and EVS, but I live in Japan. Well, Sakura, one day, World-Class Bullshitters, Geeks and Gamers, and EVS will be on a world tour, and you'll meet us in Japan, because Japan's on my top 5 places to visit in the entire world. Let's see. Saw everybody's content at the same time, says Dio Brando. Well, I'm glad you found us. Thank you. All the Bubblegum says, Jeff, good morning. Sorry I missed most of the morning show. I found out about the show via Razor Fist. Cool. Razor Fist brought us a fan. Razor Fist is still one of my favorite YouTubers. I haven't had a chance to talk to him or touch base with him, but there really isn't anything we can cover yet. But Razor Fist and I have a cool working relationship, and it's really fun for me to have somebody that I watch appear on the channel. Same with Retro Blast. That dude is he my favorite YouTuber? He might be. I just love the content they put out there. It's always quality. Come to Perth, Australia. Yeah, down the road, definitely. Just make sure that there are no dingoes to eat my baby. Hi, Jez Oldfield. Is it true that EVS is leaving the group to start the Pi Council? We don't talk about that on air, so just act like you didn't ask me that. Juice Stain says, I found you and the rest of the High Council after The Last Jedi. So many people I know who loved it in The Force Awakens, and I needed to know if that was me and my brother weren't the only people who despised the sequels. You are not alone, my friend. And based on this community, definitely aren't alone now. Pete Gilmore said he found me through Comicsgate and EVS. Well, I'm so glad that you found us, Pete. Go to Australia. It will be undergoing a Mad Max type thing. I'm down. Japan is insane. Jeff, get your extra baggage money ready. Maybe I just need a Marty McFly self-washing outfit, and I'll just wear a pair of shorts and a polo the whole time, and I'll get it everywhere I need to go. EVS is getting too big for his own good, more than a 3XL big. Poor guy. There's a rumor that NECA will bring back cult classics. Logan Michael, I always am hoping in the back of my mind that they're going to make an Axel Foley figure over at NECA, and I'll buy 5 of them, 10 of them, 1,984 of them. One for every year that existed for Beverly Hills Cop. The Last Jedi, 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. Damn. Dingoes are only up north and we shit scared of you, Jeff. Just don't feed them. I don't deal with wildlife. I don't mess with animals. Like I don't bother them. I don't, tell them to shoo off. Like there's a cat that comes around two cats that come around the house. I mean, I don't throw anything at them. I just say shoo when I'm walking by the door so they don't run in the house, and they do shoo. But I'll tell you this. Here's a weird personal Jeff story. We squirrels, like you wouldn't believe. We had a thing fixed on the gutter, and the squirrels were eating through it. And during the live shows, you could hear the squirrels going out on the roof. It was terrible. Well, then that cat came in, and that cat has eaten and killed every squirrel. I don't see squirrels in my area anymore. I found a dead squirrel when I was cutting the grass one day. I was in the backyard, and I just smelled this terrible smell, and there was a dead squirrel. And I like to think that the fat black and white cat took care of all of them. So I may not like cats. I'll never own one personally, but I'm thankful for the two cats that, keep our yard clean of squirrels. Admiral Piet and Aaron said, I almost said Ando. Actually, Ando Prime is a planet from Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, but sorry. Admiral Piet Aaron says, good God, some of these training vids are Star Wars themed. Take some more money. Stay strong, my friend. Do not give in to their references. I repeat, do not give in to their references. And make sure you come back to let me know that you're alive. Email me, tweet me, something. I got to know if you made it through the training videos. Let's see. You found me through my hatred of The Last Jedi. Dio Brando, thank you very much. How would you feel if they made Star Wars EU OVAs? Expanded Universe. I don't know what OVAs are. Could you explain it? Because I'll answer your question if you just at me. I just don't know what OVAs are. Don't bring Dion to Ireland. Horses roam around the housing estates over here. Dion, we're going to Ireland, dude. All right? Can't help you. We're going. People are still talking about the cats and the squirrels. Muffler. Caught my 91-year-old grandfather shooting at squirrels with in his suburban neighborhood with... Wow, okay. Original video animations. So, Dia Branda says, how would you feel if they made Star Wars Expanded Universe original video animations? I'd watch them. You could... See, now here's two things you could do with those. Tell me what you guys think. You could either A, put them exclusively on the streaming service, or B, bring back cartoons before movies, kind of like how Pixar does it. So you're going to see Star Wars Episode 9, and they show you an animation of like an EU story. So like the Thrawn trilogy in 12 minutes, or just something like that. Have James Earl Jones narrate it, make it, beautiful 4K animation, hand-drawn style with, the likenesses of Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill, and boom, there you go. That could be cool. Tell me what you guys think of those. King Uendo says, I found your page via Mauler while binge watching bad reviews of The Last Jedi. Your channel made sense, and I've been a fan ever since. Well, thank you, King Uendo. I'm glad you've been around the whole time. I've seen your name quite a bit, and I appreciate you. Green, it's just I'm just gonna call you Dion. Fuck it. Dion says, better take my black ass to a brewery, son. There are no trips that we go on that don't include beer. So Dion, if we're gonna go to another country, we're gonna take a solid month to just do nothing but go drinking. I'll take you to the Guinness plant. I know you can handle some Guinness. Cartoons before movies would be better than most trailers today. Yeah. Give fans a reason to go see movies besides the spectacle of IMAX. By the way, I watched that IMAX trailer about the Avengers yesterday, and it was so preachy. I was like, oh, this is the cringiest shit I've ever seen from a Marvel, the MCU. But, yeah, I'm all about cartoons. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to get some shit like that. Squirrels are cute. Are they pests in America? Yeah, they are. They're these, like, really evil squirrels that were on the Michigan State campus. Dion remembers those things. They fucking suck. I once went to a community yard sale in Tennessee where several horses broke through a nearby fence and ran amok. Crazy childhood memory. I suppose that would be Dion's worst nightmare. Only if they were selling mannequins at the yard sale. Take Dion to a horse-themed brewery. Hey, Dion, you want to go to the Kentucky Derby? I'll get us, like, the closest seats possible, and you can see the most expensive horses in the world. What did I think of the movie Equilibrium? One of my favorite movies, and kind of show where our world would be if SJWs win. Equilibrium. I don't think I've seen Equilibrium. Let me check that out on the Google machine real quick. Yeah, sorry, this phone is like 6 years old almost. This is the Note 4 I'm rocking, so I need an upgrade. Okay, Equilibrium, a 2002 film that kind of disappeared. I don't want the definition of Equilibrium. God damn it. The movie popped up, Equilibrium, 2002 film. There we go. Oh, Christian Bale. I know of this movie, but I've never seen the movie. So, it's got Sean Bean in it. That's a selling point, as well as William Fichtner. So, I'll check it out. Similar movies are The Matrix, Ultraviolet, and THX 1138. Dion, remind me to watch Equilibrium. I know you've seen it. Dio Brando says Google Berserker Horse for Dion's worst nightmare. Dio Brando, remind me to do that tomorrow night on World Class Bullshitters, and we'll Google some horse stuff for Dion. I'll just be like, you asshole. I swear he's my best friend. Dion, just wait for the convention. I'm not going to be berating you with horse stuff, but I got all the stuff to make our shirts, and it's exciting. I'm so pumped to go to this show. It's not a show about making money like it used to be where I would try to sell art prints. It's a show about, expanding world-class bullshitters, hanging out with people that are fans of the channel, making new fans, getting people really involved, and drinking, like just drinking copious amounts of booze. I've had one beer recently, and I'm holding off all my alcohol for that convention. So if you come up to meet us, be prepared. We're very happy drunks. Also, we're going to be streaming a lot. So the weekend of the 24th through the 26th, don't do anything that you don't have to do. And make sure you have your little bell notification set to always, because when we go live, it's not just going to be us sitting at a table. We're going to try to get Judge Reinhold for an interview. We're going to try to get Bruce Campbell, other celebrities that are out there. We're going to try to get them to appear on our channel for a little bit. And it could be the next step in world-class bullshitters. So All Out of Bubblegum says, I know I'm not interesting as most people, but if I ever meet you guys, I will buy the beers. All Out of Bubblegum, you just became the most interesting man in the room. No, look it. Don't ever worry. If you like the show and you want to meet us, come up and talk to us. It's not, we're not looking to meet the coolest people in the room. We want to meet the fans of the channel that like what we do and engage with everyone and have fun. It's you could want to talk to us about cinematography, and we could find a long discussion to be had there. So, hopefully we do meet you one day, All Out of Bubblegum. I like free beer. Anthony Mata, thank you very, very much. Do you collect Batman the Animated Series figures from Diamond? I bought Catwoman and Batgirl because they're based on Bruce Timm's character designs, one of my favorite artists. Anthony Mata, yes, I do. I have the ones from DC Collectibles. I assume that's the ones you mean, the ones that you order out of the Diamond Selects catalog each month. I have the Superman the Animated Series 2-pack with Superman and Lois Lane. And I have Batman and the Joker Expressions packs, the ones with like 8 heads and all the hands and different accessories. I have those. I also have the basic release of Batman the Animated Series, Batman, as well as the New Adventures of Batman. So I do collect those. I don't really want to get everyone, so I'm either going to stick with the animated series first design. So I got Batman and Joker, then I get Batgirl and Robin, Catwoman, and then build up that way. I won't do every version of every character. I'll stick with the first one. I'll get the Batcave, the Batmobile, Alfred, all that stuff. So I do collect those. I actually collect anything from that show that interests me. So like I have the giant Batman. It's like a 12-inch version of the original figure. I have that. That's like nostalgia marketing at its finest for me. But the quality of the product has been good. Dare I say excellent. So that's also why I get it. The shows were great. The toys are great. Why not get 2 great things? A product that represents great stuff. So thank you, Anthony Mata. And tell me more about what you're going to collect from that line. They're cool toys. And if you go to Amazon at the right time, they're super, super cheap. So keep an eye out for that. Weird question. Are you bald? No, I have a full head of hair. Going to Iceland beginning of October. We'll have to take pictures of the wild horse for Dion since he loves them so much. Please, Darth Platypus, please take every photo of every horse you can and tag Dion on Twitter. I'll give you his personal Twitter account. Any plans for a World Class Bullshitters event in the Pittsburgh area? Down the road, definitely not in 2018 or the first half of 2019. We're at Horror Hound next weekend, then we're at Star Wars Celebration next. Pittsburgh isn't too far of a drive for me from Cincinnati. If there's a show that we can get a table at, we could make it happen. The only one that would be a bad drive for would be Kendo, but Nick's closer. Dion's only 5 hours from me. He could come here and we could drive together. So that's possible. Anthony Mata has the same plan like I do. Well, Anthony, I hope you are on our Facebook page so we can compare collections. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. Jeff, favorite Batman the Animated Series volume/episodes? Favorite volumes are 1 through 3 on the DVD. I like before they change the animation style. Favorite episodes, I like If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? I also like Maze of the Minotaur. So I like the Riddler episodes a lot. I know this is unpopular. I do enjoy I've Got Batman in my basement from a kid's standpoint. You know, a little kid, I'm thinking, oh man, what if Batman was in my basement? What would I do? It'd be funny. I enjoy the episode where Batman is kidnapped by the fat guy and made to work on as a slave, essentially. That's a cool episode. Heart of Ice is great. There's just so many great episodes. On Leather Wings, I like the movie Mask of the Phantasm. So many good Batman things. I'm a big fan of all of it. Thank you, Anthony Mata. Any plans to come back to Dallas? That guy with AIDS is most likely long gone. God damn. Logan Michael with the win. Usually what brings us to states like that are WrestleMania. So make sure you guys pay attention to the WrestleMania schedules. I will always go, and Dion always goes. So at least you're going to get 2 of the 4 bullshitters at WrestleMania each year. So if, goes to London, we're going to go to London. So our European fans should come and hang out with us. We're going to take a week for that trip, and we'll make sure we meet as many people as possible. I'll go hang out with the girl that is the voice of World Class Bullshitters. Oh, Grey Ghost is another one of my favorite episodes. Governor Tarkin, Jeff, can we make it mandatory for name tags at Celebration next year? Hi, my name is Governor Tarkin, a brown-haired guy in his 30s. Hey, I will make the name tags. I'll print them off. They'll say the Fandom Menace, and you guys can take them and peel them off and put them on your shirts. I'll also make sure that there are shirts to /buy. I'll take a stack, and if you want to bring one, bring your own. We'll have specific shirts we all wear to the convention, so they know who we are as a community, and that we're not a group of assholes. We're people that love Star Wars and want to have a good time. There's no violence among any of us. If you ever come to the UK, you should arrange it to coincide with Fright Fest. It's a great horror con. I love horror cons. Definitely could happen. Grendel Fan 84. Dreams in Darkness and Robin's Reckoning Parts 1 and 2 are my favorites. Are Dreams in Darkness the one where Batman goes blind and he has to wear the eyepiece? Because I like that one. Robin's Reckoning is good too. Biff Tannen, a.k.a. Thomas F. Wilson, is the voice of Tony Zuko, man who's responsible for the death of Robin's parents. So, Back to the Future connection, which always is a good thing to me. Watch out for angry SJWs. If they're gonna come up and attack a guy like me, well, it's not going to end well. I am not going to do anything but hang out with the guys from the High Council who I've never met. It's just going to be us together, eating pie and pizza and all kinds of stuff, drinking beers, hanging out with you guys, and going to the convention and having fun and live streaming and just, growing the channel. We're not going in the name of anything but peace and fun. So if people attack us, they're attacking us. We're not going to go, because we're not an angry hate mob. If anything, World Class Bullshitters is a very inclusive group of guys. The community, we have people from every walk of life, male, female, every color. It doesn't matter. There's no racism or bias here on the channel. It's just a good time for people to talk about geek culture and have fun. They need to understand that. I say it all the time. So eventually, when they try to glean little bits of information, they pick it up. They know that we're not what they claim we are. Plus, 3 out of the 4 of us aren't white, so that'd be a hate crime if they came in to attack us. Gregory Harlow says, getting to listen to Good Morning Pop Culture makes being stuck in the office on my birthday a lot more fun. I'm not sure if you've covered it, but what's your favorite weapon in cinema? Could be from any period, realistic or fictional. Well, first off, from everyone here on World Class Bullshitters, happy birthday, Gregory Harlow. Folks, if you wouldn't mind, please type in happy birthday to Gregory here in the chat to let him know that we're all with him at work. Because while I've never had to work on my birthday, because I've usually been in school or, worked for myself, I've been in school for my birthday, and it sucks. You're just waiting for the time to count down. So, Gregory, I don't know if you're waiting to get off work for a beer or a big steak or a piece of cake or hanging out with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, but you have plans that you'd like to be enjoying outside of work. So we're with you 100%, Gregory. Happy birthday, my friend. Now, to answer your question, favorite movie weapon. Let me give you a few. First off, my favorite realistic weapon is the Walther PPK used by James Bond. A little biased, but 007 is my favorite film character, my favorite fictional character overall. So whatever he uses tends to be some of my favorite stuff. So the PPK is my favorite realistic weapon. I love Luke Skywalker's blue lightsaber or Anakin's lightsaber. I refuse to call it anyone but those Skywalker lightsabers. I'm a fan. That's another thing. How's Rey entitled to use the fucking lightsaber from the Skywalker clan? No. Sorry. Lightsaber blue one. Awesome. Also love Luke's green. I enjoy the Predator. I consider the Predator and the T-1000 weapons in themselves, like walking, living weapons. Predator is a great tool for destruction, and the T-1000, man, has some gnarly ass kills out there. So that's how I feel about those. Other movie weapons. I know some people say the Holy Hand Grenade. I don't really know what that's from. I'm looking at my weapons right. The Death Star. The Death Star destroys fucking planets. That's cool, man. I love me the Death Star. That is a badass weapon. I know this is a weird answer, but Hans Gruber's intelligence is one of the deadliest weapons too, because, man, that guy's smart. He took out the FBI by knowing them meticulously. Yeah, and he had, detonators and explosives, but still, his brain was just as deadly. I'm trying to think. I know the lightsaber is kind of a generic coverall answer, but I would love to have a lightsaber. I mean, my food is cold. Heat up your steak. My tea is cold, and the lightsaber is completely sanitary, so it can't ruin your food or ruin your drink that you heat up to, levels of the sun. I'm trying to think what other weapons I like out there. There's tons of other movie gadgets I like, like the web shooters or the DeLorean is a cool movie car, but straight up weapons, those are my answers. Lightsaber, Walther PPK, the Death Star. Those are my three favorites. And again, thank you, Gregory. Have a happy birthday. I hope you have great plans. I hope your family's got stuff planned for you. We're thinking of you, man. Don't let your day get boring. All right, cool. Lots of happy birthdays. Thank you to everybody. It just goes to show you that we're a good community. I appreciate all you guys wishing happy birthday to Gregory. Let's see. Any chance you could go to ACEN in Chicago? I don't know what ACEN is. Is it an anime convention? I live like 5 hours away from Chicago, so Chicago is always a possibility. Dion's 5 hours away, so we could meet up in Chicago, hang out with Uncle Peppy, do stuff like that. Like I said, this year and the first half of next year is spoken for in terms of where we're going to go, what we're going to do. But anything's possible. You guys keep helping the channel grow the way it does. We could be in Spain or France before you know it. Let's see. Yeah, Tim Christ, you're 100% right. More happy birthdays. Awesome. Let's see who else popped up. Dio Brando, my birthday is Thursday. Well, you remind me, Dio Brando, and we will dedicate World Class Bullshitters in your name. Have be a happy birthday episode to Dio Brando. Ted White. How did at Jeff Made Me Derp It go? You know what? Let me check real quick. I did not check the hashtag Jeff Made Me Derp It. So on Twitter, let me do that. Let's see. Search Twitter, hashtag Jeff Made Me Derp It. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. There are actually tweets. I just dropped you an email with some Photoshop derpiness. Says Peter Gilmore artist. I'll have to check that out, Peter. And I'll talk about that in the morning and you remind me and I'll show it on air. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. Undiscovered Derp. Hashtag Jeff Made Me Derp It. Some like it derp. Hashtag Jeff Made Me Derp It. That came from the Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey. Oh my God, Grand Inquisitor went nuts with the Live and Let Derp. I'm gonna make sure I read these tonight, Grand Inquisitor, on our James Bond discussion, because that's gonna be. I'm really, really pumped for that. Like, today's Good Morning Pop Culture has blown me away. This has been one of the best episodes we've done. Great interaction, good topic, all kinds of stuff. So today was one of the best episodes, and tonight I want to carry on that excitement. Oh my God, there are so many of these. Bootleg Luke Skywalker, hashtag Jeff made me derp it. Uh-oh, there's a picture. Oh, bootleg Luke. I'll show this on the screen. This is awesome. This will be one of the last things we show today. So no more ugly Captain America, thinking about Peggy Carter. Here's hashtag bootleg Luke Skywalker. Holdo's Muff, wet hot American derp. Holdo's Muff, I think I need to follow you on Twitter. There we go. I'm following Holdo's Muff. I gotta follow quite a few of you guys. Oh, bootleg Chewbacca. Let's see what bootleg Chewbacca is. Oh my God, the eyes. I'll show bootleg Chewbacca in a minute. I want you guys to drink in the derpiness of bootleg Luke Skywalker. And let me get caught up on these super chats, and we'll finish this show out strong. So, Grendel fan, Dreams in Darkness is where Batman is locked up in Arkham after being exposed to Scarecrow's fear talks. An awesome episode from the first season. Grendel fan, I will check that one out soon. You know what I'll do, Grendel fan? I'll watch it on Blu-ray. You know what, folks? If you guys have enough interest in this, when the Blu-ray set comes out, I'll do a review and we'll talk about some episodes. We'll do a hangout about Batman the Animated Series. We'll have a couple listeners come on. We'll talk about the show, our favorite episodes, our thoughts on the art and design. If there's some fan art that people want to draw us as in the Batman the Animated Series style, we'll obviously display it here on the channel, and you can have people follow you on social media. So press 1 if you like that idea. Party Alm Sevi says, good morning, world-class bullshitters. Early shift today means I got to catch this live. Jeff, Dunkin' or Krispy Kreme? I'm a Dunkin' man myself. Happy birthday, Gregory. Thank you for that, Party Alm Civi. I'm a Dunkin' man as well. Krispy Kreme there's one Krispy Kreme donut shop around me, and it's not even close. It's like 30 minutes away. Dunkin', I don't do too many donuts anymore. I like this local bakery called St. Lawrence Bakery. They're small, but they have really good donuts. They're only the size of a hockey puck, but they used to be made fresh. But of your question, I'll go Dunkin'. I like their coffee drink. When Good Morning Pop Culture started, I would go out and grab 2 to 3 extra large dark roast black coffees for the show. Now I got my Keurig set up, and I use these little Cafe Verona Starbucks K-Cups, and I just go to town on those. So thank you. Dolph Tico says, you see the animation that Zayer made for the High Council. If it's been out for a little bit, yes, I've seen it. If it's brand new, I have not had a chance to check it out. So I need to check that out. When I go off air, though, I got to take a few minute break, and then I got to get on this Indiegogo campaign because I got colorists waiting. So I'm going to respond to them, get the line art ready by Friday. I'm going to see you guys. It's going to be awesome. This Stealing Solo story where we kidnap Harrison Ford is going to be so fun. And the end goal is to get so much awareness for this story that we can get it turned into a movie with the actual Harrison Ford. He has a weird stance on Star Wars. This is a nice parody of where we are as a fan base. It's the story of a lot of us. At the end of the day, it's not my story, it's our story. And together we can get Harrison Ford and we can make this a reality. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what? It's a parody. I've checked out all the legalities. It's very safe from any interference. It's going to be a lot of fun. So where were we in the we're looking at Derpy Luke Skywalker. Let's see what people are saying about Derpy Luke Skywalker. Let's see. Yes, Jeff is launching a comic book really, really soon. I'm in the process of getting a few things worked out. Because, guys, I was a comic book artist for a while. I've had paid work. It just didn't really pay very much because, when you're trying to start out. Plus, I had other things. The channel took off. And to be fair, the guy who's a very great guy, he's my personal friend. The money dried up, so we only got to issue 2. I drew the first 2 issues of a book. It didn't really have a finalized title. And we had a colorist from Spain do it, and I have a friend who's a letterer that did that, and it just kind of fell apart. so there's no bad blood between my friend and I or anybody that worked on the project, but it'll never see the light of day, sadly. I wish that, I could see the finalized colored pages to see how it looked. The nice thing is I've grown as an artist so much. That was like 2014, 2015 when we were doing it. So my art, we're 4 years later. And the cool thing is I sat down, I dug out the Wacom tablet, my old computer, and I sat down to draw the other day. And I'm not saying this to sound, overly whatever, but it's like I hadn't missed a beat. I sat down, boom, got the action line, the shoulders, the hips, remembered all the steps. I was very happy. The hair looked good. The anatomy was right. The closed wrinkles were great. All that stuff. Even the hands looked good. The females looked like females. The men were men. It was so much fun. And the inking was coming together very smoothly as well. So this project is going to be awesome. And I'm hoping to reach levels that no one can dream of, so then I can continue to tell these comic book stories and make the World Class Bullshitters brand beyond just a podcast and, videos on YouTube. We have comics. The site's going to be up sooner than you think too. Really, World Class Bullshitters is a brand of entertainment. It's a different brand for, people out there that, want the truth and they want to laugh and stuff like that too. It's all about fun and having a good time. Raven Eye Review says, we all know where you went for coffee, Beaners. Oh God, you remember that one. Yeah. So if you don't know what that means, guys, when I lived in Michigan, there was a place called Beaners Coffee. They rebranded to Big B Coffee, but you can Google Beaners Coffee and you can see that there are tons and tons of places in Lansing that used to be called Beaners Coffee. They started in 95 and they're now just Big B. But it's a real thing, not made up, not even a joke. It's real. Let's see. We had King Uendo. Thank you very much again. Please consider security for live events. You guys are popular public figures. Grateful for your channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, King Uendo. Well, the nice thing is that somebody that's very close to me is a security expert and does it for a living. So we have somebody already taking care of that. But I appreciate that, guys. The funny thing is all this stuff will blow over. This is just somebody rambling on Twitter. The quartering thing is going to put a lot of stuff in perspective because we're just people on YouTube. Yeah, we're public figures and people do know us and they, line up to watch our show. But the quartering is going to show that, you think you're on the right side by attacking a person and you'll get sued and stuff will happen. So they'll be paying close attention to Jeremy over there. And thankfully he's not injured or damaged beyond, whatever. I don't know the story. I haven't talked to him. So I know what you guys know through the videos. But he'll be the case that everyone remembers. And these people will think twice about doing this shit because it'll mess up their lives. If we're living by the law and they break it, we're not the guilty ones. We haven't done anything wrong. They'll be the ones to suffer for the consequences. Can I show some art? I can show some art later. You can check out my not DeviantArt page, my Instagram. It's just Jeff Hicks. You can find it. Lots of people follow me. I haven't updated it in months, so I can't really post some of that stuff here. But that's all unfinished art. The cover for that book that I did is on there. If you scroll down, it's going to be, from mid last year, early last year, actually. You'll find it. It's got 3 superheroes in the front and then like a city and something else. I love to draw. This Indigo is going to be big. David Cook says, the Muffians will be there every step of the way. We got your back, Lord Muff. Thank you, David Cook. The Muffians. You guys like that name? Muffians. I'm all for that. I look forward to the day World Class Bullshit is big enough to buy Disney. Only Monopoly that'll be good and beneficial to entertainment. Well, thank you, 07, 08, 18. I do too. When we buy Disney, all will be well. We'll release all the properties and let the people run it. And by run it, I mean we'll hire the best directors to make a new Die Hard movie with Bruce Willis. One last time, Bruce. One last time. So let's show the final image of the day before we close this out, because I do have to get on the drawing. So let's show Derpy Bootleg Chewbacca. So here we are. I have the real version of this figure, but let's look at this closer. First off, this is titled Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper Disguise with Imperial Issue Blaster. Well, Dirk Baka comes with his crossbow and a rifle. See, now this was back when the Star Wars figures came with guns that just didn't go with them. They were a lot of fun. This is holiday special, Chewy. Cesare Japan says, Muffians. Sounds like Doctor Who enemies. Yeah, it does. It also reminds me of the, whatchamacallit, the Goldeneye, Muffy, third wife, Jack Wade, CIA, James Bond, stiff-ass Brit. Grendel Fan 84 says, bring some prints with you to show our customers. Hold on a minute. I think I have something I did, a drawing of Boba Fett from a couple years back. Let me see if I can find that real quick. It's old, so I'm still proud of it, but it's very, very old. Let's see. Is Boba Fett on here? I could have sworn I had Boba Fett. Iron Man, Green Ranger. See, I'm not very good with coloring. That's why I'm, farming out the coloring to someone who is a professional, and it doesn't, hinder the artwork, because that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, is that when you can have good pencils and you can have good inks, but bad colors can tank the whole thing, and good colors can also elevate a lot of artwork. So, let's see. I'll show you guys. Do I want to show you Power Rangers or Iron Man? I'm going to show you the Power Ranger pick, because this is old. Now, let's see, open image in new tab. This is a very old piece of art I did, 2014. So we're talking 4 years ago. Definitely advanced. But you know what? I'm not embarrassed by this art. You grow as an artist. Ethan can tell you that 100%. You grow, you change, you get better. So, people are loving this bootleg Star Wars figure. So much wrong, so much wrong. The wacky colors are what makes it hard for me to read older comics, even though the stories are superior. Even if the stories are superior, make sure you check out the. If you want black and white versions, there's these things called Marvel Essentials, and they're just black and white reprints on newsprint. They're not anything great, but if you can't handle the color, there you go. So here's something old that I drew, like I said, in 2014. This was a print of the Green Ranger. I sold these as prints. They were kind of cool. But like I said, I don't really do the coloring too well. My inking's gotten a lot better. I'm excited to see my work colored by other people. So, Brandon Quither says, Jeff, did you get my email about Misanthropony? I got to check the emails. I'm a little behind. Sorry. Yesterday I had some stuff to do, and like this, I was laying out came up with the cover concept and a few other things. So, thank you guys for the compliments about this. Yeah, I'm a big Power Ranger fan, or was. I mean, I haven't watched anything new since the 90s. I liked it back in the day, and it's very, I'm nostalgic for that shit. And it's cool to go back and look at the stuff and draw it. It's fun. So I'm a big Power Rangers fan. Thank you, everybody. I will. You'll be very impressed with the Stealing Solo comic book. The story's great, in my opinion. I know I'm saying like whatever, but I'm really, really excited to tell this story. And like I said, I really want it to get big enough to where we can turn it into a movie. Not us personally, but someone out there finds it and they make it into this story with Harrison Ford. That'll be the greatest accomplishment of my life so far. That in this channel. So there we go. So thank you to everybody who's checking it out. We'll end this episode right now. It's been a really long episode of Good Morning Pop Culture, but it's been fun. These are the types of mornings where I feel like, man, we can keep this show going on all day, and people will stick around and we'll have new topics to cover. Maybe one of these days when I don't have stuff to do, like after the show, we'll see how long we can go and keep the numbers above like 400. And, if we can keep it up above that, we'll keep the show rolling all day. That could be a lot of fun. I do not need to get rights from Disney because it's parody. And if there's nothing copywritten from Star Wars in the book, I don't need to worry about that. The name Solo is an actual word. There's also Napoleon Solo as well, which Disney does not own the rights to The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And if it's parody law and it does not portray the public figure in question in a negative light that impacts their financial gain, it is not a lawsuit-worthy offense. So believe me, I followed all of that stuff. Tiberius Nero. I've been checking all that stuff out because, I want to tell this story. So I'm not worried about that. And like I said, it will not include anything from the Star Wars universe. Parody is protected. It'll be much like Spaceballs, where I don't have lightsabers or anything like that that is part of Star Wars. So thank you to everyone. I appreciate it. I'll be back tonight with the James Bond roundtable. Not even roundtable. It's just going to be our friend and patron, American Trent, and he's going to be talking about that. Darth Tika says, here's some gas money for the Ford napping. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love tamales. Like I said, I'm taking care of that stuff. So thank you to everybody. I'll be back in just a few short hours where we're talking about James Bond, Agent 007 with our friend and patron, Trent. Do an all-day stream once World Class Bullshitters hits 100K. You got it. Jeremy said he'll do it. Let's beat Jeremy to 100K and make it happen. And we'll have to break it up into 24-hour segments, or 8-hour segments, but we'll do it. So thank you. Good day to me, Mr. Shitter. Good day to all of you. And thank you.